What is up, everybody? My name is Hector Flores, host of the Insert Name FC podcast, a member of the Belgium Sports Media Network. You can find us on all things podcasting, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast fix from. You will find us there at Insert Name FC. You can also find the full video version of this podcast episode on Belly Up's YouTube channel. So just go to YouTube and search Belly Up Sports, and you will find the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel, and you'll see not only our episodes, but also Corner Booth Pod, High Low Sports, all the other great podcasts are available at the Belly Up Sports Media Network. So make sure you guys go ahead and check them out, give them some love as well. But yeah, episode 252. Also, follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, X, at Insert Name FC. You can find us there. We're also on LinkedIn. I should probably mention that more often, but we are on LinkedIn. But yeah, this episode is going to be a long one. I'm not going to lie to you. We're going to talk about the U.S. men's national team. This is our report card for the U.S. men's national team. Obviously, the friendlies lost to Belgium, lost to Portugal. We'll get into the games and what our thoughts of the games and, who's safe and who's not. I'll give our overall grade for that international break. Obviously, it's not going to be great. It's going to be an honest conversation, a very heated conversation. But that's going to be with Kelcey Coyne of High Low Sports. Will be joining me to discuss that. And then, of course, we're going to talk about the last teams that are qualified now for the World Cup. So now the stage is set. Every team is now qualified for the FIFA World Cup in 2026 here in the United States, Mexico, and Canada. So we were going to discuss that as well. It is Moussa of Mo Football TV is coming on to talk about that. We're going to talk about the UEFA bracket and the FIFA qualifiers, and we're going to share our thoughts on the teams that are now into this World Cup and what are their, how we feel about their chances of the world's biggest competition. Obviously, guys, and also who's not going to be in the competition as well. We're also going to be discussing about that. Players of the week, along with games to watch this weekend. We do have some football this weekend, and we'll talk about that as well. And break the show up, end the show up with obviously give and go. Give and go. This thing wants to allow me. There we go. Give and go, man. It is an awesome soccer card game. Every card tells a story. What's yours? Give and Go is the ultimate soccer card game packed with trivia, challenges, and conversation starters that bring fans together with three game-changing categories. It's designed to get everyone talking, laughing, and reliving their favorite footy moments on the couch, at the pub, or wherever you go, wherever the game takes you. Wherever you go, Give and Go, man. This is a fun game, man. I love it. This is just great conversation. So I will pull another card from this stack of cards, and we'll be discussing a random football topic. So obviously, as long as it's not anything something that can be applied, because I will mention some of these cards are actions, so that's another reason why it might be a little tricky. But with all that being said, man, it's gonna be a big episode, long episode as well. So without making this any longer than needs to be, also we'll get to it when we get to the ending. But with all that being said, man, we'll go ahead and take a break and then go right into the U.S. men's national team report card with Kelcey Coyne of High Low Sports. Let me tell you guys about Belly Up Sports. Belly Up Sports is the internet sports bar. Go ahead and check out their website, www.bellyupsports.com, to read some great articles from great writers all across the country, from hockey, baseball, golf, soccer, you name it. Belly Up Sports is the premier, not your average website. All right, guys. International break is over. Well, it's been over. But it is time to do our report card for the U.S. men's national team, and what a break it was for the U.S. men's national team this go around. Me and Nick Gable, we had our thoughts on the call up. There were some things that were intrigued, and funny enough, and I'll mention as we go on a little thing that Nick was kind of interested in seeing from this call up, and it actually did happen. Did it pan out? Well, we'll let Kelcey decide on that one. But obviously, Kelcey from High Low Sports is here, and I appreciate you coming in to talk about this. I know this U.S. men's national. You know what? Sometimes it's okay to go root for the other national team if there is one.
yeah. If Ireland had made it, then of course I would probably be repping the Ireland moment right now, but I can't do that. Maybe I can go with my dad's home country of Spain, but I feel like I'm too much of a homer if I do that.
Hmm.
So I'm still stuck with the U.S. for now. But maybe, I mean, if I break out the Spain jersey, the old Fernando Torres jersey, you'll know why.
Yeah, I don't think anybody will have an issue with that. But well, I'm sure someone will have an issue with that.
There's always
But
somebody.
there's always you can't please everybody.
Remember,
Um,
I'm a dumb American. I call it soccer, not football. So that means I can't, rep Spain, of
which
course.
which to me is the funniest thing about that. Like people have such an issue with the word soccer, but like to be fair, is the U.S. soccer really playing football? And I can even argue that for the women's side as well. Like,
Are they playing anything for them on the men's side? Really, are they just out there
well,
playing patty
so
cake?
so my argument for the women's team, as much as I enjoy watching the women's team, and of course, obviously they, the proof is in the pudding of what they're doing. Maybe if a discussion to have further down the road, maybe as the game clearly is evolving, in Europe, but at least for the women's game, but like the U.S. as a whole is focused on athleticism.
Yes.
That is their big thing, and anyone can you can come at me for women's football fans, but let's be honest with the women's national team. The big thing that they had was obviously when you have so much college soccer, like the talent pool is there. You have the
Yeah.
talent pool compared to men's soccer, which is this isn't me complaining that we need more men's soccer teams because college men's soccer, which I very disagree with that. But the reason why is that there is a clear system for the women's game,
Yeah.
is what I'm implying. But once again, the U.S. model that's always been there, and I can attest as someone that has been through that's worked for the academy system, they emphasize more on athleticism.
Mm.
They think we can teach someone how to play soccer, but we can't teach speed. We can't teach height. We can't teach physicality. Which, funny enough, you actually can teach physicality. You ask Gattuso.
Yeah.
Um, but this
Maybe don't ask Gattuso right now, unless you want to get kicked or punched or headbutted.
there's that. The instincts will still be in play. The job security. Someone's gonna give him a job. I don't know how, but someone's gonna give him a job.
Sure.
It's someone will give him. Unless Tottenham almost had him, but Tottenham revolted in that. See, the fans work. The fans do have a voice in this game. Tottenham dodged a very clear bullet. Even for someone that clowns on Tottenham as much as I do, I genuinely agree that was a massive bullet to dodge with getting Gattuso in Tottenham. That was funny that even that was even a conversation. To be a fly in the room for that conversation would just be, yeah. But I digress. So once again, the whole thing with the women's national team, they emphasize so much on athleticism, and you can tell Abby Wambach, amazing athlete, especially when you're talking about her prime.
Hmm.
Sydney Leroux, I mean, great speed. Alice Morgan, another great speed. Now, that quality of play, obviously, it's very there. But when you think of like a lot of the best women's games that we've seen from the U.S. Women's National Team, is more often so because they just outworked the other team. And that's not taking a jab at anything. Like the women were clearly better, and they deserve all the attention that they get, and should get more money than the men's national team. But obviously, the men's game gains a certain different type of attraction versus the women's game. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. But with the emphasis of athleticism, you can kind of say mirrored to the U.S. men's national team, it's kind of the same principles where they emphasize more
Hmm.
on physicality, physical features of a player more so than good play. And I've seen many academy players where I'm talking about kids, who show really good technical ability. And once again, as children, now I'm not saying as an
Yeah.
adult, but kids with really good technical ability are overlooked because they're not fast enough. They're not big enough. They don't meet the quote unquote player profile that they're looking for. And so you miss out on these guys that are great with the ball. Maybe not the fastest guy. He's not going to pass the beep test or not do well in the beep test, but there's players that we overlook because we're emphasizing more on pace. We're emphasizing more on height. Like weirdly enough, I've been watching. Obviously, I'm still following the Dynamo Academy, And obviously right now they just concluded with Generation Adidas Cup. I think they're in another tournament in Orlando, I believe, as well. And in those competitions, like I'm looking at kids that are playing U13s that, well, they're almost at my height. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of things, and weirdly enough, one of the few times I actually agree with Landon Donovan. Landon Donovan has become more and more vocal of the youth development in this game. That it's very much a joke. That it needs to be improved, especially if we want the next generation of players, where we can finally overhype a golden generation in some aspect. So the reason why I'm getting all into this whole thing is just because I think, once again, it goes back to the core of it all, where we emphasize on athleticism. Now, weirdly enough, that's still the U.S. men's national team identity. At least that's how it should be. And the reason why I say that is because you still have to play like a CONCACAF nation. Say what you want about Mexico, but Mexico's a really good CONCACAF team. They play CONCACAF. They don't try to pretend they're someone who they're not. And I think that's one of the reasons why things with Berhalter didn't work as great, or even now with Pochettino, that at least this go around didn't help, was you're trying to play football against nations that play football. And sometimes this is one of those times where you gotta play soccer. And I think the tale of this call up, at least, was the first half was pretty good, but then came the second half, and I think that was the exact theme of these two games. To go back to the whole thing that I was saying, U.S. soccer, we play soccer. We don't play football because it isn't football what they're doing. They're not playing total. They're not playing total football. They're not playing tiki taka. It's just not embedded in the DNA of an American player. But if you're talking about soccer, go full send. Use your pace. Use the tools that you have in front of you. Because to be honest, we just aren't at that level technically, like the likes of a Belgium and the likes of a Portugal.
Honestly, I don't think I could have said it better myself. We've talked about this before on the show. We talked last go around in the Gyasi Zardes conversation. He was a stereotypical American player. He met every measurable, but his touch poor, and his actual finishing ability poor. But what he could do was he was faster than everybody. He was physical, and he could run like the wind and just find himself in the right place by accident. That's what Gyasi Zardes always did. That's what made him even burst on the national team. And then there you had the Breck Shays, who was probably too tall, was too skinny, wasn't physical, but on the ball was one of the more skilled players we've ever had roll through the U.S. men's national team. But he only lasted 2 to 4 years. But it was under a German coach who recognized the ability of that player that brought him on. If you look at all over the country, all over the world, at different nations, there's always a stereotype for every nation, right? That's just what it is. There is just a generic stereotype for every nation, and for America, it is absolutely physical, strong, fast, lacks actual skill on the ball. And let that be the thing that they believe, and then show them that you are physical, you are fast, you are big. Oh, by the way, he does have a fine touch. That would be defining beyond just soccer, which we do have players that are absolutely maestros on the ball, but when do we see him? Yeah, after 18, I don't ever see him again. I see him go to a Bundesliga 2 or a League 2 or insert random Denmark or other country, and they just disappear because something in the U.S. system, and I'm glad you said the teaching, we can teach them to be. The problem with the teaching part is Americans can't teach the skills to make it football. And the reason why is there has been no American to play football at that level. And that's just the fact. There have been Americans to play soccer at that level. Clint Dempsey was absolutely a fantastic soccer player. But if you said he was playing the beautiful game, no. Landon Donovan was a step down from Clint Dempsey, and I will go on record as saying that forever. I don't believe Landon was better than Clint. I think Clint was better than Landon. And I think even that was still a stretch to say either one was playing football. So you look at that, and you said it, coming into this rotation, what are we? If we're not the nation that plays soccer, what are we? Because what I saw on the pitch these two friendlies was a team that lacked an identity, a team that was trying to play catch up, a team that was just trying to figure out what they wanted to do with the ball, and they couldn't figure it out in the time needed to score a goal. Especially the second game against Portugal. How do you get blanked 2-0 by Portugal after scoring 2 against Belgium in a 5-2 barn burner? Like, there's so many problems with this U.S. men's national team, and I'm actually really glad I'm wearing the insert name FC better shirt, or I have that shirt in the background right now, because it's not Pochettino that I'm worried about. It's just the in general identity of the U.S. Soccer Federation and the U.S. men's national team. Are we better than Berhalter? Are we better than we were with Bob Bradley? I don't think so. I think we've lost all of our identity, and despite all the bad things I've said about Berhalter, the one thing he did do was, well, we're Americans, so we're going to play CONCACAF football, CONCACAF soccer at the end of the day, and that's fine. But it's hard to say what I watched this last 2 weeks was anything close to football. Honestly, it was just, we're out here, guys. We're debuting our brand new kits. We're trying new systems before the World Cup hits. It looked like a host nation just getting their way into the tournament. Just a team that hasn't played any competitive matches against a whole team that just qualified and has literally on both teams looked fantastic in club and country. And now you're going to sit here and say, oh, hey, we didn't have any competitive matches up till now. We're here, but we're just, fine-tuning everything. You've had 2.5 years to fine-tune, but you screwed around and you messed up with two coaches, technically 3 coaches, and you didn't figure it out. So now you are 90 days away from the kickoff, and less than 60 days away from the kickoff, and guess what? 0-2 in the friendlies leading up to the World Cup. You are 45 to 50 days away from your camp, and you don't know what you are. And that's terrifying. If, as a U.S. men's national team fan, I am absolutely terrified about what is about to happen this summer, because what I watched is, there were some bright spots. I'm not going to lie. There were a couple players that I'm like, oh, cool. But overall, I don't know what we're going to do in the back. I don't know what we're going to do in the midfield. And I sure enough don't know who's going to score goals at this point in time, because 2 goals, we gave up 7. That's not a good look for anybody, and especially not a host country. We might be the first host country to ever not make it out of the group stage. That's where we're going. We don't count them. But yeah, this is where we're going. It's depressing. It's sad. I was like, you texted me about doing this, and I was like, crap. I got to find some positives to say about what I just watched. The fact is, I honestly struggled to find some positives, but I did find some. But we'll talk about those in a bit. But yeah, that's my first overall take on what I just watched, is we lack identity, and I'm scared to death about that.
Yeah, and I think that's the fairest of all reactions. I'm actually not as, there's things that definitely need to be addressed, but I'm not looking at that emergency ship right now. If that makes any sense.
I've been looking at it for months, so.
And I get it. I get everyone's concerns, and trust me, these 2 friendlies are not ideal. And I remember, I think there was I was watching some post game show. I think it was actually CBS's. I believe TNT, CBS. I don't know who the fuck does it. Sorry for Kelcey. But Cantor's kid. I always feel terrible for not knowing what his actual name is, but Andres Cantor's son, who obviously, if everybody knows, well respected announcer in the Spanish side, but his son covers the game in English, and I actually believe they had a really cool father-son game where they broadcast the game together as a father and son. I believe it was English, by the way, which that was kind of weird. But anyways, that's not the point. So he made a very good point, and it's this is what happens when you play 2 really good nations in your international break. They could have, Pochettino and the US Soccer could have gone the route again of calling, obviously calling a team like Australia or calling another team like Paraguay, which not taking jabs at them, not saying that they're better, that we're better than those 2 nations, but
statistically we are.
Statistically, of course, but I honestly believe that. So for people that want to know what my real thoughts with the U.S. men's national team, one, I don't think they're heavy favorites to win the World Cup. I don't think that because we're in the United States that the U.S. is going to be favored. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't be more surprised if we have more fans of the other nation, more so in the stadium that we'll be playing in. But the U.S. isn't a top nation. It's not. It's not with the likes of Belgium. It's not with the likes of Portugal. I know Belgium is kind of moving on from their golden generation, but you know what? The next crop of guys, they're pretty fucking good, by the way. No, sorry for cussing Kelcey again. Portugal. If I hopefully Kelcey remembers early days of insert name FC, because I boldly was saying that if I could see another nation that could beat the next France, which was this group of young French players that also have a lot of experience together that became that team that won the 2018 World Cup. Obviously, we weren't around when the 2018 World Cup was a thing, but I was like, if there's a nation that has that same mixture of young players that are doing good things across the world, and on top of that have had plenty of experience playing together in the international stage, that team was Portugal.
Yeah.
That was when Rafael Leao looked phenomenal. I don't know what's happened recently, but a young Rafael Leao. Nuno Mendes wasn't even a thing when I was when I was talking about that crop of Portuguese players. Bernardo Silva was a lot younger back in the day. Like now you're seeing Coyne, really good player. Obviously plays it over at Juventus, or I believe Juventus. I could be wrong on that one, but pretty good player. Rafael Leao, I feel like will eventually figure himself out. That's just a dumb thing for me to assume, but there's good when it comes to Portugal. There is a lot of good young players. Obviously, Francisco Tricao, João Felix, who is starting to find confidence again. Yes, at Al Nassr, but still finding confidence again. So there's things about Portugal that I would say that they're definitely a team to watch. Obviously, the most pressure of all nations, in my opinion, because of the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo is going to put so much on himself because he cannot end his career and not lift a World Cup, even though he's took Portugal in places they have never imagined they could get to. And this is not me being a Cristiano fanboy, because remember, as I told Jose from Goals TV, Ronaldo can fuck all once he left Real Madrid. Sorry for cussing Kelcey, but that's just my point. Portugal, Belgium, two teams that I would argue are right now at top of their game, and maybe not Portugal. I don't think are heavy favorites for the World Cup. I think they're kind of in the lower
top 5 team in the rankings right now. So
I take rankings with a grain of salt, but
those play into the odds of winning a World Cup.
Yeah. So I mean, Portugal has a lot to play for. Belgium, you can argue this could be Kevin De Bruyne's last World Cup, and when you think about it, and Thibaut Courtois, some people might say Thibaut Courtois, but I mean, with goalkeepers, you never know. He might have one more in him. But that, with all that being said, that's my point. These are two good nations. These are two of the best nations. To have them go against them back to back in like a few days is a tall task to say. Now, once again, the tale is good first halves, not so great, well, god awful second halves. But before we get into the games, that I just want to say it was ambitious from the U.S. Soccer to decide to have both Belgium and Portugal. I would have said Belgium, maybe another small country. Or not a small country, but a country more at the level of the U.S. Because once again, there's the top countries, then there's they're really good, they might do something countries. Not very often they do actually do something. Then like a Croatia in 2018. Really good team. Did anyone expect them to be in the World Cup final? Probably not. And then you have the teams that are really just there to ruin things for everybody. And I would argue that's where the U.S. men's national team is. They're in the third tier and that's just below happy to be here.
Yeah, that's a little harsh. I'm just going to speak plainly. That's a little harsh, but to Belgium, really, I think more than anything. I think Belgium falls into that category of teams where they are still expected to perform. Maybe not win, but semifinals.
Well, I was saying for the U.S., that's where they are.
Oh yeah, but I mean the U.S. is expected to get the quarters.
Are they?
The U.S. and Mexico both are expected to get to the quarters. That's my expectations as a U.S. men's national team fan. If this is our golden generation,
I mean, have you heard everybody else?
Very strong quotations around golden generation, by the way.
Have you heard everybody else? Everyone's saying we're getting grouped.
Yeah, well, I mean, I did just say that, so yeah. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, it's a pride thing. Like, here's the thing, man. While you don't take a lot of weight into the FIFA World Rankings, everybody else in the world does. The fact Italy, by the way, is still in the top 15 of the world rankings and they did what they did is still shocking to me. But you look at this and let's just, take a second and think. After these two performances, the USA fell but one spot below Mexico. They're now below Mexico in the FIFA World Rankings. That doesn't irritate you a little bit as an American fan? I don't know what you are. Even if you're a dual national, I don't care. That doesn't irritate you a little bit if you root for the U.S. men's national team primarily, and that doesn't just irritate you a little bit. What are you watching? Because that does. It irritates me. Absolutely irritates me. That the fact we spent all this money trying to get better, trying to get a better manager, trying to get a better system, and what have we shown for it? But just absenteeism in a lot of ways. It doesn't feel like I'm watching a U.S. national team. And I'm not saying it has nothing to do with the type of player or where they're from or anything like that. That I could care less. It purely has to do with when you look at this team, what is their identity? Because I don't see it. I don't see a team with an identity.
I can tell you what their identity is. I can tell you exactly. No, not even that. They're just a bunch of crybabies.
Let's be honest. There are two guys on that field that every time you walk in, there's a number 10 that's a crybaby, and
they're a bunch
there's
of
a 21 that's a crybaby.
They're a bunch of overly hyped prima donnas. That's really what they are. They're the problem with the U.S. right now, the U.S. men's national team right now, it is overhyped. It has been overhyped, and it's our fault. It's everyone's fault for believing that this team that we keep arguing. A lot of guys are playing for good European nations. We got to the point now that people are dog shitting on the Serie A. Sorry for cussing, Kelcey. But is the Serie A really that good of a league? Is the Serie A mind you, Santi Jimenez also plays in AC Milan. Just want to throw that out there. If we want to talk about is Serie A really that good of a league? Johan Vasquez also plays in the Serie A. Just want to point that out again because is Serie A really that good of a league? But when you have players that are playing regularly for big clubs, who would have thought only in FIFA career modes could we put a U.S. men's national team player in Juventus? Only in FIFA could we put an American playing for AC Milan, starting for AC Milan. Starting for Bournemouth. Say all you want about Bournemouth. Say all you want about Bournemouth, but Tyler Adams is playing regular minutes. Well, as long as he's healthy, is playing regular minutes.
That's a different conversation.
Brendan Aronson at one point was like a godsend.
Yeah.
To Leeds United of just because of he plays soccer, by the way. But you talk about fast kid that just gets in the way. But those are the things that we keep talking about. Cameron Carter-Vickers, eventually he's injured and he's just not going to be there. You have Austin Trusty who plays for Celtic. Talk about pressure, right? But we have guys that are playing in Europe regularly, whether it's a top nation, a top club in the world, whether it's a mid-table side, but they're playing regular minutes in Europe, and that's what we've never seen before, right? The reason why we overhyped Christian Pulisic was because we'd never seen a 17-year-old playing for the first team, even though he was coming off the bench, but he was playing for the first team. And yes, we overhyped him, just like how we overhyped Julian Green, just like how we overhyped.
That one, yeah. Julian Green was a big one. That was bad. Freddie Adu also another bad one where.
But Freddie Adu wasn't playing at Bayern Munich or Borussia Dortmund. He was the youngest signing.
But when he went to Benfica, I mean, we still kept that hype up for far too long. I mean, that's the U.S.'s thing, right? If you look at it, we pick one guy out of every generation, and that's every U.S. fan's oh, that's our guy. We picked the wrong horse. If you think Christian Pulisic is the best player of this generation, you've picked the wrong horse. That's a fact. I'm going to go out on a limb.
I still believe he's still our best player.
Is he the most talented? Sure. Is he the best player to get wins? No. I don't agree with that.
Okay, that's fair.
But he's the most talented. But I look at this you mentioned Juventus, so let's talk about it. Weston McKennie, easily our best player. hands down, easily the best player to get wins because he finds himself he typifies what I expect from an American player and that identity. A guy who works hard, finds himself, has skill, has savvy on the ball, can make the passes, can make the movement, can connect attack and defense. He plays on a two-way hinge. He's a guy that I would want to build my team around, but we don't do that. There is no cohesiveness when he is not on the pitch.
You can't because we got the LeBron James of soccer.
Right, because there's Pulisic out there. Because we've decided, for whatever dumb reason, that we're going to put our horse behind him. Like, he's our horse. We're going to put the buggy on him. That's all. Even though we have a Clydesdale sitting right there in Weston McKinney, that we could carry all the Budweiser to the World Cup final off Weston McKinney's back. I mean, come on, guys. What are we doing?
If it wasn't for Christian Pulisic, we wouldn't have a bunch of angry British people at us right now.
You know what? The angry British people can go kick rocks. They can go drink tea out of a bay for all I care. But no, this is my thing. Is like when we talk American soccer, the thing that pisses me off is that people are like, "Oh, we're not expecting." I have expectations, and I guarantee you all the players have expectations, and the expectations are not to get grouped. The expectations are not to just get to the quarters. The expectations for them are probably semis or bust.
And I like that you mentioned that right now because the clowning that they've done with Pochettino. Look, there's many of reasons why me and Edward have joked around, and Kelcey as well, that we've joked around with Pochettino, to the point where we're making fun of each other of throwing out rumors of that guy with our teams, and Edward really having a field day right now with him being rumored to Real Madrid. I don't think that's happening, but don't think that's happening. I hope that doesn't happen. Really don't. I'm tempted right now. Kelcey knows when I'm tempted to do something stupid. When I'm really confident, you know what? Fuck it. Sorry for cussing Kelcey. Jersey bet.
Here's the jersey. Yep, there it is.
If Mauricio Pochettino is the next manager for Real Madrid, I will do a jersey giveaway. Boom. There we go. It's official.
Can it be a U.S. men's national team jersey just for the fun of it?
I'll make it. I'll be open. It can either be USA, Argentina, or Real Madrid. Those are the three. Those are the three kits. So I really hope
I could use one of those navy blue jerseys.
I mean, I think you're waiting, bro. You before we get more into this, the funniest thing ever was the fact that because everybody knows on Belly Up I did a kind of like a little review, a recap of my thoughts on the kits for the U.S. men's national team, and why I like more the Stars kit than I do the Stripes. By the way, I've always said it. I'm not a fan of the Waldo kit. I know that a lot of people love the Waldo kit.
I didn't like it either.
I'm just not a fan for it. This kid looks really nice. The Stripes kid looks really nice. Not trying to take away from it. Waldo kit I know is iconic. There's just certain kids or jerseys that just I'm not a fan of, but people like them for some weird reason. That weird Bumblebee Pittsburgh Steelers jersey is one that I've never understood. Maybe it's because I'm fat and I just know what horizontal stripes does to people. So maybe that's the reason why I just refuse to wear it.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, maybe I'm subconsciously making the same decision.
But yeah, the reason why I like the Stars kit is also because it reminds me of Captain America from Endgame. But
that's fair.
But the reason why I was going to point that out is because when interviewing Mauricio Pochettino, he said his vision, he's focused. Not his focus. His goal is to make it to the semifinals, and everyone just started clowning him for saying. Mm-hmm. First of all, when have you ever wanted to go hear a press conference and someone say, you know what? Just as long as we go out there and have fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so prime example. Barcelona, right? They fired Xavi. They gave Xavi a contract extension. They re-signed Xavi, remember, because he was gonna step down at the end of the year. And then Barcelona was like, please come back. Don't leave us. We know you can
don't go.
Don't go. And then what does Xavi do? He goes into a press conference and says, I don't know. I don't think we could compete with Real Madrid. Maybe not exactly like that, but basically that was the gist.
Yeah. It was the subtext.
That dude got sacked the next day. You cannot say, you can think it. I can think it. I can say that shit. I can say, you know what? I don't think Real Madrid's going to win a trophy this year. I can say it. I don't want the manager. I don't want the players to be saying that. I'm like, wait, I'm supposed to believe in you, not you believe me. Like that's not how it works. Like I want Pochettino to have confidence. I want Pochettino to believe in his team. Like I want him to believe in something, like whatever his method to his madness is. I want him to believe it. Like I want the players to be like, we're going out there to win. We're not like first like any country that goes into the World Cup should be going in there with the goal to win the World Cup, even if it's a stretch. The goal is to go out there and win a World Cup. Like that should be everyone's objective. Just like in every sport, the goal from first day is to win a title. Even if you're considered a minnow, even though some people are saying you might be relegated, like the objectives are different. The board objectives are always going to be different. But at the end of the day, the objective from opening day, we're winning a title. We're coming out with some silverware. That is the goal. Do you do it? No. If not, well, that's when your board's expectations comes into play. But as a manager, as a player, I want my players to have confidence. I want them to believe that they will win. Like that's crazy.
But
Crazy
I will say this: it's been since 1930 that the U.S. men's national team has gotten into a semifinal position,
and I
when
get
they finished
that.
third.
And
so
I get that.
let's be realistic. If this is our golden generation, and you truly believe that, yes, I'm pissed off the fact that Pochettino came out and said semifinals is our expectation. Yeah, I'd be irritated. But here's the thing: I don't believe it. You don't believe it. At best, this is our silver generation. At best, it's probably realistically closer to our bronze, because until we figure out our youth systems and our academy systems, we really have no chance of being a top 5 team in the world year in and year out. We're not going to be a Germany overnight. That's not going to happen over the next 4 years. And I understand that. You understand that. We get that. So him coming out and telling you that's his expectations and that's a realistic expectation for him, I feel like, okay, I'm sold enough. Like, I'm not going to say I'm sold all in, but I'm sold enough.
I think.
Is it a bad thing to say to the press? Yeah, don't say that to the press. Probably ever you should never say that. But like,
I think like maybe
let's keep our heads
obviously
on.
Hindsight's always gonna be 2020, right? Hindsight's always 2020, and obviously what Pochettino probably should have said is we're going out there and we're competing. We're gonna make you either earn the win or earn the draw or
you're gonna know the stars and stripes are on the other side.
You're gonna feel our presence every single match. That probably would have been the best way to say it, because like at the end of the day, like it's just crazy that USA can ever have ambition towards anything, because then we're just like, oh, this is why people take it so unserious here. But then it's just, once again, they're just picking at things. I want Pochettino to have confidence. I want these players to have confidence. Regardless if it's false or not, I don't care. It's packaged to me in a way that makes I believe that you guys can do something. But going into these games, and we'll finally get to the games.
Yes.
Obviously, first game is a 5-2 loss to Belgium.
Oof.
Which already it's rough. But USA had 53% of the possession in this game. Belgium outshot the US 18-11 and had 11 shots on target to the US's 4. The goals came in this order. Weston McKennie scored off of a set piece in the 39th minute. Then you had Zeno the Bass in the 40. It was funny. I was thinking of doing like the fastest 2 minutes edition with this when it was 1-1. Which I was gonna say, I rep that West, like the Ice Cube song. I rep that West and McKennie, and then I was gonna say Zeno, he gave the best of you. A little Foo Fighters there. And then another goal in the 53rd minute scored by Onana. What's his name? And then after that, I just lost interest in making fun jokes and quips. So that's because it stopped being fun. Then obviously a penalty. Just Dodo handball called in by Tim Ream. Charles de Catale scored in the 59th minute off a pen. Then you had Luka Bacchio, who just scored 2 bangers, by the way, coming off the bench, and just was a massive problem as soon as he came on the field. And then at the end, a little gimme goal by Patrick Agyemang, assisted by Ricardo Pepi. The game, like I said, ended 5-2. can you really take any positive off of that Ajaman goal besides, hey, at least Ajaman scored a goal? But
Yeah, I actually I can. I do think there is some positive there, and I think it's to say that he is our number one off the bench striker. I think that's what this defines for me. Is like, because look, the Belgium's not an easy team to go score against. Period. The better. Well, I mean, we did score 2 against them and nothing against Portugal, so maybe I'm wrong here. But I do sit there and think about this as like a situation where if I can take one positive, who's the guy that if in a close matchup I can bring on to possibly score a goal, equalize, or take a lead. That does give me hope that Ajaman can be that guy because he's shown it at the club level. So like him continuing that is really my hope, and that's
I think more and more I'm kind of leaning towards Patrick Ajaman more and more, and the reason why is because, and I'm not saying starting 9 by any means, but
right, yeah, next man off the bench though.
But kind of going back to what I was saying about U.S. soccer, right? Like their profile, right? Fast and really big.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically like our modern version of Josie Altidore, and because he is just a fast big guy, and like I always said, sometimes you just really need just a really fast big guy. And you're talking about
better touch than people give him credit for. At least better than Jossie Zardes ever did.
It's funny because he gets joked on so much because obviously and I mean great story, right? Division 3 soccer, right, in college. Then obviously now with Charlotte FC, gets called up by Pochettino because I really think that Poch likes a really fast big guy. Harry Kane once upon a time was a very fast big guy, and to the point where his performance gave him a chance to get looked at by Derby County, who people love him over there, by the way.
Yeah, I would too. 10 goals in 36 matches and 3 assists on top of it. Like, for Derby, I would take it.
So like he's a fan. Like the fans of Derby County love him, and he's learning. That the thing is, you want to talk about like the thing that I'm irritated about with the game, the way the youth development. Yes, you can't teach size. You cannot. You can't teach speed. Obviously, you can. Mm-hmm. You cannot. But you can grow in the game, and he grew into his role, like what he is there for. And you talk about with his athleticism. And I'll talk about the strategy that I think the U.S. should be doing, just because. And I'll once again it goes back down to that tier that I put the U.S. on. But like Patrick Ajaman could come in and just once our opponents are tired and exhausted from just overworking, trying to get with the possession and all that, Ajaman could come in and it's like Homer punching a homeless guy, in that Simpsons episode where he's getting punched in the face like multiple times, and all it takes is just one little jab and the guy's on the ground. So like that's literally where I think the U.S. should be going, is by outworking their opponent, which that's what it was in the first half of this game and both games. This first half was honestly like I love how they're playing. They're outworking. They're gonna make Belgium work. They were making Belgium work from the jump. I love the idea, and we'll get into the formation, which was the 4-2-3-1. In defense, it kind of moved to a back 5, if you will, with I believe Tanner Tessman becoming a center back, which take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, Matt Turner, a goalkeeper. Yeah, and you had Anthony Robinson on the left, Mark McKenzie and Tim Ream were your center back duo, and then Tim Weah was put at right back. And interesting decision, but Tim Weah has been playing fullback for Marseille, so it was not necessarily too much of a change for him. I believe also when he was at Juventus, he played a little bit of wingback as well. So he's familiar with the position. I thought he did a great job against Doku. Doku one is not going to be an easy matchup. Period. Nope. He stayed fairly well with him. Obviously, he got burnt out because you can only do so much when you're going 1v1 with Doku. But this is one thing I will say about Pochettino. How do you not add an extra defender at least nearby to provide assistance to Tim Weah? Because you're talking about one of the best 1v1 guys in the Premier League right now, in Jeremy Doku. Tim Weah, tip of the cap, great performance. Should have been pulled out at halftime. This is where you bring in an Alex Freeman. This is when you bring in a Max Arfson, a guy that will outwork your opponent. Right? This is what's kind of going back to it. You gotta outwork him. Doku is gonna take forever to get him tired. That guy can play like that in a full 90. I know that for a fact. But Tim Weah was already outworked because not only was he attacking, but not only defending, But then you saw Pochettino yelling at him, telling him, "Hey, go out there and attack. I know what you do for the attack." But you have him so focused on defending right now. You're burning these guys out. You were burning. Anthony Robinson also was getting burned out. He was having good moments on the attack as well, solid defensively as well, but had great moments on the attack as well. Big openings with him and Weston McKennie. Continuing on, Tanner Tessman in the midfield, Johnny Cardoso in the midfield, Weston McKennie. Forwards was Christian Pulisic, Florian Balogun, and Malik Tillman. But yeah, and then the substitutions, you got Christian Roldan coming in for Johnny Cardoso, which Johnny Cardoso is kind of becoming a weird conversation now because apparently there's some friction going on between him and Pochettino. This was arguably probably Johnny Cardoso's best performance as a U.S. men's national team player, by the way. Me and Nick, we talked about it. Johnny Cardoso, on paper, really should make the most sense out of anybody. You're talking about like a guy that I view could play like that Jermaine Jones role. Really good as a 6, but can also provide so much on the attack as well. But he, for some reason, just doesn't translate with him. I don't know if it's a system issue or it's just him. I don't know what it is, but he's doing a lot of great things to earn him a spot with Atletico Madrid. He's not starting all the games. I think he believes like 36% of games that he starts for Atletico, but still plays for Atletico Madrid. But yeah, I don't know what it is, what's happening there. But all I know is this was his best performance I've seen him with the U.S. men's national team. But then you had Giovanni Reina came in, Ricardo Pepi came in, Sebastian Berhalter came in, Alex Friedman came in later. Like I said, this guy should have came on in the second half immediately because once again, Tim Weah was already like on his last legs. Like, I didn't think he could do the second half against Doku again. Max Arston came in. You had Joe Scally come in, and then obviously Patrick Odgeman was one of the final substitutes. But yeah, my big thing was just first half. They made sure Belgium earned every minute of play. Every play that they were trying to do, they made them earn it. For every opening they were trying to expose, they made them work. Matt Turner had some good saves. I know that my video with Jose Tellez on goals of reacting to the MLS players, I really dogged on Matt Turner, but I just don't think he's our goalkeeper. I think we wasted a game where we could have been seeing a little bit more of Matt Freese. That's just my opinion. But Matt Turner had some good saves. It showed why he was viewed at once upon a time as our top goalkeeper. But I don't know. I don't think he's done enough for me to feel like he should be starting over Matt Freese. And I'm not saying Matt Freese has done a lot, but right now we're in a weird period right now with goalkeeper. But Tim Ream, if we're gonna do a back three, we need to have two really physically active center backs along with Tim Ream because Tim Ream is going to not be able to keep up with certain guys. Yes, he has great ball placement from long distance, and that's what I give him. And obviously, he's a great leader. Those are the things that you want, the nice things I can say. But he's not getting younger, and I think maybe it's a different story when we have Chris Richards when he's fully healthy. But yeah, Tim Ream, look, I love the guy. I want to pull for him. I'm rooting for him because he's the only person that's around my age at this point. But I just don't. He becomes a liability if there isn't other players around him that can cover up for what he's not able to do. Tanner Tessman, I have no complaints with him. He's a regular player, Olympically on for a reason. Johnny Cardoso, like I said, this is the best performance we've seen from him. I think that's more of telling of what we're going to see more from Johnny Cardoso as long as he's happy with the U.S. men's national team. Weston McKennie are, without a doubt, our best player.
Yep.
Without a doubt, our best player. This guy not only played in the midfield, he played on the wing. He was basically everywhere on the field. You're talking about what Christian Pulisic should be doing. This guy is doing it. So, and then the last thing I'll say before I go over to let Kelcey take over, Christian Pulisic is pissing me off because he's trying too much. He's doing too much. He's not the thing that there was moments where all you had to do was just pass the ball. You got the attention that you wanted from the defenders. You had an open player, whether it was a Malik Tillman, whether it was Balogun, whether it was Weston McKennie, whether it was Anthony freaking Robinson. There was another choice to make, and you decide to just go wide, give it to the goalkeeper, let the defender pick it off of you. He tried too hard to be the hero of this game. He's choosing to be selfish, and I think that the reason why is because he's getting too much attention to him right now. He's not performing for AC Milan because he's going through, I believe, a 12-game drought. And then on top of that, apparently his girlfriend broke up with him. So I really don't see the correlation with that. But he's trying to do too much. He's trying to overcompensate for some weird reason. And this is the ridiculousness that this guy should be evolved right now. He should be evolved. This is where he should have some sort of peak. Not peak, but prime. He should be in his prime right now. And he's making doo-doo head decisions like he's still 21.
Can we copy and paste my comments from earlier? If you believe that Pulisic is the best player for the U.S. men's national team, you obviously haven't been watching the U.S. men's national team. This is a game that just typifies that to no end for me. What I watched from Pulisic, and I'm going to start there because I think he's the biggest pain in the butt right now for this U.S. men's national team, is it's just like, I don't want to say it's lazy play because it's not. I don't want to discount the fact he is moving in things, but it's like he makes up his mind before the ball comes to him, and he doesn't analyze what's actually around him. The one thing I love about McKennie is McKennie catches the ball on the half turn. For those that don't understand what I just said, means you're catching the ball while scanning the field. Like the ball is coming to your feet, and you're turning and moving your body at the same time to shield from a defender and analyze what the next move will be. Oftentimes, you don't touch the ball until you're running and chasing it down instead of immediately making a first touch. Pulisic makes the first touch and then turns. And that's something when you start talking about playing at the biggest leagues, and it's maybe my one gripe about the Italian Serie A, is you almost have too much time on the ball. So when you get to the international play, you see this a lot from Serie A players where there's no fluidness to the movement. It's a lot of stop and goes from the attacking team. And you see that with Pulisic. He knows in the back of his head, all right, I'm playing Belgium. This guy plays in the Premier League. He is going to be pressing me as soon as I get it. And he gets, I mean, let's not kid ourselves. He gets fouled a ton. That's just what happens when you're the number 10. Like, you're going to get chipped. You're going to get tapped. You're going to get every little within the rules. And sometimes there's that outside of the rules hit that you could possibly be given. And that's just what you have to deal with. But he knows that. And unfortunately, it's like he just makes up his mind beforehand. And it nothing will change it. And I think of like Wayne Rooney's goal against the back four a few, what was that now, 15 years ago, where he jumped a back pass because the defender just has always had the tendency to make up his mind beforehand, jumps a back pass, scores a goal, wide open net because nobody knew what was happening. That's kind of what's going to end up happening one day with Pulisic, where he's just going to get caught doing the same thing. And it's happened before. It's not the first time. I believe it was Trinidad and Tobago when he did it, was the most recent time that I can think of. And it's who he is. But that's the one thing when you compare him to McKennie that I really see. And it's really put on a microscope in these type of games where you're playing against a higher level talent, where you're playing against a top 10 team in the world. And these guys are all physical, and they're all savvy on the ball. And you don't want to make that mistake. And that's what Pulisic looks like. He looks like he doesn't want to make the mistake. Whereas McKennie's like, well, I can just turn and shield and then still make the pass when I need to because I'm equally as fast, equally as strong, and equally as savvy, and I'm equally as confident in my skills. And whatever is going on in Pulisic's personal life, I hope he gets it figured out, because if it's confidence thing, I get it. Joao Felix, we mentioned him early on. He suffers through the same thing. Many players have suffered through the same thing. It's ruined many a great player, is lack of confidence. And if that's what's happening with Pulisic, this is the worst time it could possibly happen, but it's happening. Whatever is happening is happening. But yeah, I want to start there because he was the worst player, hands down for me. But it wasn't a big stretch to say Tim Ream is the next worst player in the books, because I said this before and I'll say it again. He's slow. He is slow to react. He reads it. He sees it. His body physically can't keep up anymore. And that's just what it is. We talked about this before. The best situation for him is to be that sweeper stopper situation where he has a guy in front of him that can easily step up, make the first move, and he just cleans up everything. That's his best solution, but that doesn't work with this 3-back system. Sure enough, didn't work with a 4-back system. It really only works with a 5-back or a diamond 4, and that wasn't the case here. And yeah, we need somebody. Anybody else other than Tim Ream, that will just not fly in the World Cup. We might squeak through the group stage with him in the squad in the starting 11, but it's not going to work getting to the semifinals like Pochettino wants. So that needs to be figured out. As you mentioned, Chris Richards not being fully healthy does hurt, but I do think like there are bright spots that came from that. Like we got to see Mark McKenzie, which I don't think it was the best performance against Belgium. I think that's obvious. I don't think anybody's shocked when I say those words, but we did get to see Jedi do Jedi things where he was, while Weston McKennie might be the best player on the field, I think Jedi is the second best player on the field. Mm-hmm. And I think that was very obvious to a lot of people. And, you know, we're finally seeing him healthy. We're finally seeing him attacking, and it looks great. But kind of the third worst player, and if I'm just going to put the blame on somebody, I do got to put it on the goalkeeper. I mean, I'm not going to say every goal was his fault, but at 5 goals scored against you, at what point do you take the blame? Because it's if it's not the first one, it's not the second one, it's got to be the third, fourth, and fifth one. That's still 3 goals. Like, it...
Maybe the penalty, I always say
it's tough.
The penalty is a 50-50, but...
And I'm not saying like consecutively third, fourth, fifth. I just mean in general. Like, as a goalkeeper, you pride yourself on a clean sheet. You don't get a clean sheet. You give up 5. Whether they're your fault or not is a different conversation.
To be fair, like, you know, you already spoke about on Tim Ream because you obviously that one goal where he just puts his foot out, doesn't really touch the ball, but essentially blocked Matt Turner's vision. Yeah. Not saying that if he was out of the way, Matt Turner could probably have made that stop, but you also can also not say that would have been the case, right? And then the handball, obviously, just don't move. I don't care that the VAR was there and everyone's trying to figure out maybe he didn't touch the ball, maybe he didn't. You saw the little deflection. You saw the deflection on the VAR, so it just confirmed that a penalty. But those two definitely on Tim Ream, in my opinion. People can say about if Matt Turner would have done something where he could have probably got his hand on it. The dude reached out. He just didn't see it. Didn't see the ball.
That's fine. That's again.
But that's 2 goals. That's just 2 goals.
2 out of the 5.
Yeah. So
it's tough.
And you made that's what I'm saying. Like, you made a fair point. 2 goals are definitely on Tim Ream, but the next 3, like,
as a goalkeeper, you can't just blame everything else on your defenders. Like, your job, I mean, it's 12 feet. Like, you have to cover a 12-foot by 8-foot gap. That's what you have to do. I think it's actually 9 feet now, but
I will also say maybe not letting Luca Bacchio have that much space to take his 2 shots, but
you can tell like moments like this was a very obvious thing that Matt Turner didn't grow up playing soccer. Mm-hmm. That's what this type of level of game shows, and he gets away with it in a lot of ways because he does make great diving saves, but it's the other things that he lacks, that understanding of what it is to be a goalkeeper. And this is coming from somebody who did not grow up playing soccer, but learned the art of playing goalkeeper, being a goalkeeper, being able to read things and play like a goalkeeper should, and not just a converted baseball player, which is what I was. But I had to learn it, and it's something that Matt Turner also had to learn, but he also hasn't grasped the finer aspects of that. Like, hey, it is still okay if you catch the ball. It's okay if you punch it over. It's okay if you don't have anything and you just want to kick it 17 rows deep. That's fine. Your job is just to keep the ball out of the net. Mm-hmm. That's it. And he does it like it's just moments that he just forgets that. Which, to your point about Matt Freese, yeah, we probably could have seen more Matt Freese. I actually would have said something along the lines of I'd like to see Brady or Schulte just to know what I have for them against a Belgium. I think that would have been the key there. Is I want to see those two in a top 10 matchup, knowing full, like if I'm Poch, I know full well Freese is going to play against Portugal. Like I know that. So now I want to see the other two because I know what to expect from Turner, and that's just it. That's me. But also, I don't think he was the most responsible out of those 3 guys. I think he was. I'm being mean by putting a lot of pressure on him, but also he's a guy that fell off the edge of the earth for the U.S. men's national team. You know, that Arsenal situation.
It's crazy that we're having a conversation about goalkeepers, by the way.
Oh yeah, but you talk about U.S. identity. This is U.S. identity.
But I'm just saying, like that. It's crazy that we're talking about goalkeepers when we thought Matt Turner was going to be our guy, right? Like
he was, hands down. I mean, honestly, a year and a half ago, before the Arsenal move, was the dude, without a question. And now it's like, well, might not make the roster.
And I think it's just it went down to just poor decision after poor decision of where to play. Yeah. I think Arsenal, yes, ambitious. It's awesome. Play for Arsenal. Maybe you thought you had a good chance there just because like they were going through some sort of goalkeeper crisis of their own. You know, you do bring in Aaron Ramsdale. I valued Aaron Ramsdale, but obviously Arsenal did not. But you know, it was Aaron Ramsdale. Aaron Ramsdale was the guy you were essentially competing with if you're Matt Turner, and I don't think he did enough to be able to jump over Aaron Ramsdale. Now David Raya, on the other hand, showed exactly why he should be starting over Aaron Ramsdale. But I think, and then I believe he went to Nottingham Forest, I believe.
Yeah.
At one point, that alone is just he needed to go to a place where that needed a keeper. I don't think Nottingham Forest was one of those teams. I think he was competing for the spot, but he lost it right away. Then went to Crystal Palace. That was
he needed a Tim Howard arc. Is what he needed. Where Tim Howard signed with Man United, obviously wasn't going to get playing time. Ends up at Everton where they needed a keeper, and he took over. He was the dude.
And that's
what he needed.
And that was going to be Lyon. Like, that was exactly what Lyon was going to be, except that they're going through financial struggles. And a team that didn't even have a goalkeeper on the roster were like, yeah, we can send him to New England on loan, and then we'll figure it out from there, which figuring out, I guess.
But he also volunteered for that. And that's the thing. Like, it's come out that he's the guy that volunteered for that situation because he didn't want to be the player that caused that financial strife for the club. And that was his excuse, as it's come out in recent weeks and months. But as a goalkeeper worth your salt, who's filling himself, who's not in the moment of the drama, I would have never done that. And so like that tells you where his mental state was when he's going to Lyon on a big ideal move. And he's like, you know what? If I know I'm going to be the guy, like, and don't get me wrong, I think that's a great move for the fan appreciation, blah, 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 blah. Cool. No, because I'm going to think, hey, I'm the goalkeeper that's going to keep you guys from losing. I'm the guy. I'm that keeper. That's my mentality, not the mentality. Let me take a pay cut and walk away. Like that. Yeah, that's crazy to me. Like I
think also crazy situation. Once again, bad decisions by him, and I think on top of that, the Gold Cup. I think that was probably where you allowed the reason why you're not looked at as the starting goalkeeper for the U.S. men's national, and this is my honest opinion, is you took a backseat. I think Poch was like, "Oh, you could go figure." Especially after how those international friendlies went before going to the Gold Cup, which if you guys remember, Switzerland and Turkey. Just Google if you want to know how that turned out. So you had that bad taste in your mouth with him, and then here comes Matt Freese, one of the brightest spots on the team for Gold Cup. Yep. Besides Chris Richards and Diego Luna, these guys, all three of them are now looked at as safe picks for the U.S. men's national team. On top of that, Chris Richards probably might be the next captain for the U.S. men's national team just because of what he was able to do in the Gold Cup. I mean, as long as he's healthy, it's Tyler Adams, in my opinion.
Maybe, but honestly though, but to get back to the game before we both digress too any further, I do have one other player that I know you didn't say anything about, but I do want to say something about, and it's Malik Tillman. I think Malik Tillman showed that he deserves a conversation for starting because he is easily as influential as Weston McKennie on the pitch. Him and Weston, I think, worked perfectly together as far as the give and take goes of in that midfield being able to drop back, to move forward, to press the attack, to sit back and defend.
Where do you put him?
And that's the hard part. Right now, in my current hatred of Christian Pulisic, I'm putting Pulisic on the bench and starting Malik Tillman personally, but you can't do that.
We'll get to our ideal level.
And that's a whole other conversation because it also depends on formation and all that stuff. But I just needed to say Malik Tillman, probably the third best player behind Weston McKennie.
And talk about a guy that
And Jedi.
definitely earned a lot of respect from Pochettino from the Gold Cup. Probably one of the few abroad players. Mind you, also, guy that was in conversation talks with another club because remember, he was leaving PSV. Remember Poch was like, oh, they're trying to figure out their club situation, so they're not going to play. You talk about Yunus Musa. You want to talk about Matt Turner. The guys are figuring things out, right? Guys that are trying to figure out their club situation. He was trying to figure out his club situation too, and guess what he was doing? Still playing the Gold Cup. Guess what? Still got to be the number 10 for Bayer Leverkusen. So, I mean, everyone's got an excuse. Everyone has an excuse, but it doesn't help when when there's a person that's in a similar situation is doing the thing too.
Yep,
that's all I gotta say.
House of Cards will eventually fall. That's all that is to it.
All right. So unfortunately, there was a second game. So
yeah, unfortunately,
Portugal beat the U.S. men's national team 2-0. Portugal had 61% of the possession. USA actually outshot Portugal 13-12. Both of them had 4 shots on target. The goals came from Francisco Trincao at the 37-minute mark and by João Felix on the 59-minute mark because nobody wanted to man him. No one wanted to go up. No one wanted to. Once again, doing what they were doing the first half, which was playing physical, in-your-face defense. Yes, we're gonna get tired out pretty quickly. Let's be honest. You can't do that for a full 90 without getting exhausted. But João Felix, you leave him wide open and just puts in an amazing shot. It happens. But look, the formation was a 4-3-3. That was the formation that they win for this one. You had Matt Freese, the goalkeeper. Your back line, you had Anthony Robinson once again on the left. You had Austin Trusty and Chris Richards, this time being your center back duo. Chris Richards obviously was still recovering from an injury, but he was 100% for this game. You had Alex Freeman on the other side. Your midfield was Sebastian Berhalter, Aiden Morris, and Weston McKennie. And your front three was Tim Weah on the wing, Malik Tillman on the wing, and Christian Pulisic at the false 9 role. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say as soon as after I do the substitutions. So the subs for this game was Mark McKenzie. You had Max Arston coming into in the second half. Giovanni Reina came in the second half. You had Brendan Aronson coming in. Christian Roldan, Tanner Tessman, Patrick Odgman once again made an appearance. Joe Scally and am I reading? No, was it Balogun?
Yeah, Balogun.
Huh? I thought he left early. That's all I heard from. But yeah, so Balogun. So for the people that were like, oh, this is bullshit. Sorry for cousin Kelcey. That Christian Pulisic is being played the 9. Imagine being all the other 9s that were on that roster, like Balogun, like Pepe, and like Adjaman. I'm gonna say this. Yes, was this a bonehead decision to try out a new tactic? Probably, but also we're also still talking about friendlies here, and Pochettino I think this is where I'm gonna try to get into the mind that is Mauricio Pochettino, even though that's just damn near impossible.
Good luck.
But I mean, if you're thinking about these friendlies, this is the time to test things out. Which I know sounds stupid to say because this should have been things you were doing back in the fall. Is testing things out. If you wanted to test Christian Pulisic at the false 9, that's probably where you should be doing it. Not when this is the last call up before the World Cup type of thing. But yes, the reason why I say that is not necessarily a disrespect, even though they're probably still gonna be disrespected to the likes of Ricardo Pepi, Balogun, and Adjaman. The reason why I say that is because I feel like those guys are safe. I don't think that there's anybody that's going to contest with Balogun. I think Pepe is doing by the way, one win away from winning the Eredivisie, but again, for PSV, by the way, would be their 3rd straight Eredivisie title, by the way. But
and probably should have moved to Fulham, but we all know how that worked out.
Yeah. But once again, there's no other striker. I mean, maybe Haji right, but I would argue more him as a winger, or as at least a fringe player, right, that can play a winger but can also play the 9. So I don't necessarily throw Haji right into that conversation because those fringe players, that's a conversation for another day. But when you talk about your main 3 9s, right, Balogun, Pepe, Ajiman, those guys to me are very safe.
Yep.
What else do they have to play for? So at this point, like, you guys are good. I'm gonna test this thing out. It might be stupid. I know you guys want to try to play against Portugal. I know you guys want to score a goal against Portugal. I get all those things, but I need to do something here. And the thing that I'm gonna do here is, okay, Christian, you want to be the fucking hero? Sorry for Kelcey. Here you go. Be the hero. Do it. Poking stick. Do something. This was Christian Pulisic's opportunity. And what did he do? What did he do? Did too much. Try to be the hero when all you had to do was just pass the ball. I don't know. I think it's a confidence issue with the kid. I don't at this point. Maybe stop doing docuseries. Maybe stop going on people's podcasts. I don't know what you need to go through, but I don't know. Go to that place where Aaron Rodgers went. I don't know what you have to do, but you got to do it. Like, at this point, it's you that's in the way. At this point, the only person that's in Christian Pulisic's way right now is Christian Pulisic. Hey guys, this is Hector from the Insert Name FC podcast, here to tell you guys about Canada Dips. It is a great tasting, superior alternative to traditional dip using CBD in a way that is radical, enjoyable, and effective. It comes in 5 core flavors: wintergreen, mint, citrus, mango, and American spice. Canada Dip CBD is the new evolution in dip, allowing guys to enjoy great, long-lasting taste without the downsides. If you guys want to go ahead and try them out, use the code BELLYUP20 at CanadaDipCBD.com. Once again, BELLYUP20 at CanadaDipCBD.com, and you'll get yourself 20% off your purchase. Thank you again for Canada Dips for being a great partner of Belly Up Sports.
Yeah. Well, do I need to reiterate my comments from earlier of how I want him to be benched at this point in time with his current form? I don't care if he is your number 10. Bench him. Show him he's not untouchable. Show him that just because he wears the number 10 does not mean he can be a fool and play terribly and still get a spot night in and night out. I don't coach, I don't manage, I don't do anything just to watch a player ruin it for the rest of the 11 guys on the pitch, 10 guys on the pitch, 11 if you count the coach. I don't want to see one guy ruin it all. And unfortunately in this game, it wasn't just one, because there's also a Sebastian Berhalter that we need to have a conversation about. But sticking strictly with Christian Pulisic, he has this position where he has been starting for the U.S. men's national team, I think, since he was 16? 17?
17.
Bench him. I don't care. It happened to Landon Donovan. It happened to Clint Dempsey for a long time, for Clint Dempsey specifically. And it changed the way they played. The only player I've ever seen for the U.S. men's national team that was as talented, part of a great generation, that didn't really get benched was DeMarcus Beasley. And that's because he didn't need to be benched. He was a guy that would just go out with his lunch pail, show up, give you 90 great minutes, or 75 before you pulled him off, and then he would still show up the next game and give you 90 great minutes again, and then you'd pull him off. Like, I don't see that with a Christian Pulisic right now. I see maybe I might get 60 minutes out of him. Why am I going to waste that off of bad touches, killing buildups, and making bad decisions time and time again? Because right now, that's what we're doing. No matter where you've played him, whether it's on the wing, whether it's as attacking mid, and now as a false 9, bring me Jesus Ferreira back if you're going to do this. I don't want Christian Pulisic doing this. I don't want to see him in whatever emotional mode he's in. And look, I'm a big proponent of mental health and taking care of it. And if you need to go take care of that, Christian, go take care of it. But right now, for the best for U.S. men's national team is not Christian Pulisic being the quote-unquote talisman. You need a Weston McKennie. You need a Malik Tillman. You need a Timothy Weah. I need a Brendan Aronson at least. I'll take anybody over Christian Pulisic, especially in whatever form he's in now. When he's the best player, when he shows that he's the most talented player for the U.S. men's national team, that's the best Christian we've ever seen. When he was rattling off goals and assists for AC time and time again, showing up and being Captain America, doing great things. It was awesome. It was great. It's a great thing to watch. But he's too hot and cold to be trusted until he gets his head straight. And I think we're at that point where if you're Pochettino, and I'd even stretch this to say if you're AC Milan, you have a very come to Jesus conversation with Christian Pulisic about, hey, you need to figure it out, kid, because he's still a kid.
Yeah, and
he needs to get it together.
I think with Pulisic, and this is honestly from my viewpoint, I don't know why I said it like that, but last World Cup, it did come down to Christian Pulisic.
Yeah.
It did come down to him. It came down to him almost even being to the point of being working hard on injury.
Yep.
For the U.S. men's team in 2022. That's not the case this year.
We don't need him to be superhero. You
don't need to be Superman, man. Like sometimes you can look. The evolution of Weston McKennie is point proof of it. Was Weston McKennie at the same level as Christian Pulisic in 2022? No. He was good. He did his role. He did his job, right? His game has evolved now with AC Milan because of the fact that the man plays almost everywhere on the field minus goalkeeper.
Yeah.
He's learned a lot. He's learned under some of the top players in the world at Juventus. You know, obviously the likes of Chiellini and many other, you know, guys over there in Juventus. So like he's learned a lot under that time. He learned a lot in his time when he went to Leeds. You know, like he has evolved since 2022. Weston McKennie has evolved to having a really interesting prime.
Yep.
Unfortunately, that's not the case with Christian Pulisic. I feel like he's almost the same guy, except now he's playing regularly. Like he is a regular guy. He's looked at as a regular player for AC Milan. Yes, what happened at Chelsea could mean a lot. Could be a lot of reasons why he wasn't a regular player. One, his health was probably was not his best. And then two, if you believe you're on par with the guy that's starting over you, then why the fuck would I start you over him? Sorry for cussing. Mm-hmm. So like the only thing that's different with Christian Pulisic is while he's still doing the same things that Christian Pulisic always does, he's not getting regular minutes. But I haven't seen any evolution besides in AC Milan now, and I believe it's Allegri who's the manager over there. He has Christian Pulisic playing freely. Like, you know, trust your instincts, go do your thing. I don't know what happened here. I don't know. I don't know where the loss in translation happened here because him being put at false nine was like, all right, go do what you do. Do what you do normally for Allegri.
Link it together. Do
what you always do with Allegri. That's not Tim Weah. That's Rafael Leao. You know, like, I just don't see where the translation is happening with Christian Pulisic. Like, at this point, he just has to get out of his way. He needs to realize that Tim Weah has gotten better over the years. And, I mean, he was a really good player to begin with. Now you got a Malik Tillman on your side. Like, that's a huge... Like, that should be a huge weight off your shoulders when you have a guy like Malik Tillman who is also very much evolving. Still very young, by the way.
Absolutely.
And of course, then Weston McKennie, who will take the risk of getting out of position if he knows it's the right decision.
Yeah. When you're the only player that's stagnant and everybody else around you is evolving and you keep wanting to put the blame on everybody else, that's a problem. And it's not like he's physically putting the blame on everybody else, but let's just be honest about it. Nobody wants to put the blame on Christian. Because we don't want to admit we are wrong. And I think it's high time we have a real hard conversation about this, that does he deserve to even be starting in his current form? And I think that phrase, current form, needs to matter more than what number is he wearing. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you're number 10. I'd rather see a number 23 out there starting if he's in better current form than a number 10. Mm-hmm. And that's crazy to some people. Some people are like, what? No, you can't do that. History tells you number 10s are absolute. You don't know soccer. If that's your only thought, number 10 didn't matter except for very few cases. And honestly, it didn't really become a thing until Maradona and Pele made it famous. That was it. Like, those are the two guys that really made the number 10 famous. which is great, cool. But let's not put too much stock into it when we have a guy wearing 10 who's, for lack of a better phrasing, awful right now. And you have everybody else showing up and performing at as high of a level as they possibly can. Where you have Timothy Weah, and look, let's not kid ourselves. This wasn't the best game for Timothy Weah against Portugal either, but it was a better game than watching what Christian Pulisic was doing. It kind of shows me where I really want Timothy Weah to be playing, and it's definitely not as a right back. But this is a situation where you look at it, and it's like he can't stay stagnant. He didn't have that much of an advantage on any of the other golden generation, quote unquote, players to just be the same player after Qatar. And yet we're probably talking about him being worse because he's not doing the things that made him so good, which is attacking, making on the spur of the moment decisions to pass and link play and get things going. When Jesus Ferreira was playing a false nine, you saw Pulisic make the moves to get open or even score in more cases than not to get you the goals.
Hell,
and right now,
even a Sebastian Legit.
Yeah, like at this point in time, it's like, what is the benefit of putting a Pulisic in his current form? Because I'm not seeing it at all. Mm-hmm. That sucks. I hate saying that too.
I get that. I truly do. But at the end of the day, I think Pulisic is going to be on the roster, and he's definitely going to be on the starting lineup. It's just trying to find that Christian Pulisic again is going to be the conversation piece. I mean, but yeah, let's get into the duo 6s or 8s or whatever the hell you want to call it with Aiden Morris and Sebastian Berhalter. I've said a lot of good things about Aiden Morris, and I'm not taking anything back. I think he's a really good championship player. I think that he is growing. His move to the championship was a really good decision for him. And then you have Sebastian Berhalter, who I think talk about guys that like really earned Pochettino's respect from the Gold Cup. He's one of those guys, but I think more and more we're learning he's just not at that. He's just not that level. Yeah. He's good. I'm not taking that away. Is he important to Vancouver Whitecaps? Definitely. But I think when we're talking about fringe players, and yes, that's where Sebastian Berhalter belongs in this conversation. If you're talking about those fringe players that may or may not make the roster, the thing that I think that hurts Sebastian Berhalter is that he can only really play one role, and that's being an 8. I think that's literally what he does. He has great vision. I won't say great. He has good vision.
Yeah, he's
definitely a set piece guy. But I mean, have you seen our roster? Like, is Sebastian Berhalter about to take a free kick over a Christian Pulisic, a Malik Tillman? Is he going to take a corner from Anthony Robinson? I don't think so.
Not that I'm voting for.
So, I mean, are there things that I like about Berhalter? Of course. There's things that I like about Berhalter. But I think that, unfortunately, he's just... One, I want to go away from the whole A-team, B-team thing for Gold Cups, by the way, but he's like, in my eyes, he's a Gold Cup guy. If Pulisic or McKennie or any of these guys that would be our normal starters just decide not to want to play in the Gold Cup, that's when we call in a Sebastian Berhalter. Honestly, and you can say I'm being biased, but I actually rate Jack McGlynn more than Sebastian Berhalter.
I'm right there with you. You said it, and I was just thinking it in my head.
Jack McGlynn can play on the wing. So,
yeah.
Like, once again, when you're talking about fringe guys, you want a guy that can play a multitude of positions. You know, clown on Christian Roldan all you want, which, I mean, I'm right there with you. But he can play the 6. He can play the 8. He can play the 10. Maybe you can put him on the wing. So, like, this is a guy that maybe right now many people are kind of clowning on him right now for just because of how he performed in this Gold Cup, in these international breaks. But I would much rather have him than Sebastian Berhalter because, once again, Christian Roldan can play different positions. Because, once again, with fringe players, you want guys... Because, like, you have 20... You got 26 guys. You can only bring 26 guys. I believe that's still the rule for this World Cup. You have 26 guys to your roster. 11 of those guys are for sure starters. Maybe also take another 2 off because those 2 got to be goalkeepers.
Yeah, max 26, minimum 23.
Okay. So you have 26 guys. 3 of them are 23 technically if you take out goalkeepers.
Yep.
So that's 11 guys that are really good at their position. And then maybe add another. Then there goes 7 guys. 7 to 8 guys. Right? I was about to do the whole stupid 6-7 thing. 7 to 8 guys that would be still pretty good on their roles, but maybe can play a few other positions. And then you're talking about those last spots. And I didn't really do the math there, so someone can help me on that one. But what was it? 3, 10, 8, so 20, 21. So 21. So that means there is 5 guys.
Mm-hmm.
5 guys that are maybe not the best options, but maybe fit to what Pochettino wants. That may do things that Poch wants to do. But if you can only play one position for Pochettino, what value do you bring to me? So I need guys that can, one, believe in what I'm trying to do here, but secondly, can play different roles. And if Sebastian Berhalter is one of those guys, am I really going to go grab Sebastian Berhalter when all he can do is play the 8?
Yeah, simple answer is no. I am not bringing Sebastian Berhalter. You know why I'm not bringing Sebastian Berhalter? Everything to do with his attitude. When things aren't going well on the pitch, he is not the guy I want on the pitch. And we talked about this a little bit. It's like sometimes you want the bulldog, sometimes you want that. That's fine. But there's a fine line between bulldog and just out of line. And to me, Berhalter crosses that line a lot. And he also doesn't keep his head on the ball. He's also another guy who doesn't pay attention to what's around him when he's playing the ball. He almost feels like he needs to have more time, which you can have in the MLS. You can have more time on the ball than you have in a lot of other leagues. But you can't in the World Cup. You can't against top teams. You can't once you get to the knockout stages. That's just not how it works.
I mean, even if you want to look at your own group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
you got Australia, Paraguay.
Press the heck out of you.
And Turkey.
Press the heck out of you. And press the heck out of you.
So Sebastian Berhalter isn't going to have time to make decisions. Maybe you'll have 1 to 3 seconds.
Yeah.
To make a snap decision, which once again, what Weston McKennie does is when it becomes a valuable asset in those kind of scenarios, because you're going to be playing against teams that will be very physical with you and are going to play with a massive chip on their shoulders. Because while you are excited about this group minus Turkey, guess what? Australia's also excited that they got the U.S. in their group. Paraguay is also excited that they got the U.S. in their group. Turkey is definitely excited they got the U.S. in their group.
Yeah.
So, talk about the tables have turned here. Literally the same scenario. And you can also make the same argument for Mexico and Canada as well. Like, even though there's one, stop saying there's easy groups. Stop saying that. There's no such thing as easy groups in World Cups. Okay, shut up, Kelcey. You're not helping my argument.
There is always one easy group, and that's just if we just accept that there's one easy group, that's fine. But to try to say every group is easy is a bold-faced lie. Okay,
I'll concede that one.
That's how I've just rectified the situation.
It's definitely not the group the U.S. is in. It's definitely not the group that Mexico's in.
No.
It's definitely not the group that Canada is in.
No.
So, but aside from that, the only times I never need to see Sebastian Berhalter and Aiden Morris together is probably doing a TikTok dance. So
even that, I won't watch it. I don't want to watch it again. Spare me that.
Cringe on all levels.
At this point, honestly, I would have loved to see Kevin Sullivan out here more so than I would like to see Sebastian Berhalter. I'm at that point where I'm like, anything.
And he doesn't even play the 8.
Yeah. Anything is better than sitting here watching Sebastian Berhalter play anymore. Look, I don't want to be. I hate being that harsh on a player, especially who's a guy who's played well for the U.S. But I wholeheartedly agree with your statement that he's a Gold Cup player. He's a CONCACAF player, which is fine. But we're not playing a CONCACAF tournament. we are playing a World Cup, and this is the situation where we need to blend soccer and football together to make a cohesive team. Think 2010. That was a great combination of soccer and football players together. And I don't know if we were there.
And so this kind of goes into, I guess we can start going into moving on from this whole games at least. There's a reason why dual nationals are going to be important, at least for the U.S. men's national team perspective. And even you could say that for Mexico. As a matter of fact, I mean, Mexico, honestly, Fidalgo, who is a Spanish-Mexican, a Spanish player but has Mexican heritage, is playing for the Mexican national team. And that midfield looks so much different when he's on there. And just imagine when Gilberto Mora is healthy, along with Edson Alvarez. I know people are saying Lira looks really good, but I mean, it's captain. It's Cap. You got to have Cap out there. And I think, and respect to Edson Alvarez, that's a player that I do have a lot of respect for. I know I hate on Mexico. I know. But I hate the national team. I don't hate the players, if that makes any sense.
Well, some of them. I can hate on some of the players. They've been around long enough for me to not like them.
Okay, that's fair enough. But anyways,
Ochoa.
He might not even be on the field. So I think Rangel doesn't look that bad. So I mean,
it's fair.
I know someone's gonna say something, but like, look, with Malagon not available, it is what it is. But but that's kind of the importance of having dual nationals. Once again, you can, Folarin Balogun, right? He's gone through. He went through the Arsenal youth system, right? I don't know. Balogun to me is like, it's the hardest one to look at because like, is he what you're looking for in a 9? Yes.
In a modern 9, yeah.
Yes, but I don't know. There's sometimes it just feels like it's maybe it's just because I'm biased towards Pepe, but like maybe that could be it. Just because I like how Pepe plays, which is more so Mexican-esque, but or Mexican proxy.
That's fair.
But like, yeah, I mean, but I do. There's things that Balogun that I do like. I think it's just funny that when Balogun made the decision to play for the U.S., we all automatically just like, this is our 9, and it's just like, is he really? But that's the importance of dual nationals. Malik Tillman, talk about another dual national, playing right. Tim Weah is a weird one to me because he's not really a dual national.
No, he is. Technically, he is.
Yeah, technically, I know, but like, the thing that I say that's so different about Tim Weah is like his dad is literally like a legend of the game. Like his dad is the only African player to have lifted a Ballon d'Or. Like that's upbringing. Like
also the former president of Liberia. Just throwing it out there on top of all of his other things. He happens to have just been so impressive. He was the former president of Liberia.
Tim Weah. We need more interviews with Tim Weah. Hopefully, not talking about the media being evil, but like, but there's just once again, he comes from like I would say some sort of football heritage, if you will. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
So look at his dad. I'm trying to think of Anthony Robinson went through the English system, right?
Yeah.
So
Chris Richards, I believe, isn't Chris Richards technically dual national?
Yeah, but he was an FC Dallas product, and then while he was still in the academy, got a trial with Bayern Munich, and the rest is history. So, even though he's from Alabama,
that's right. Yeah, he is Birmingham born.
Yeah, so and he actually owns Birmingham Iron, I believe.
He does.
So, but yeah, I'm trying to look at some other dual nationals here, but I think that's pretty much it, at least from these call ups. Johnny Card. He was from Internacional. He is Brazilian. I know that, but I don't think I would count. I don't think I would count him. But there
Joe
is
Scally. Joe Scally's German.
Okay, Joe Scally's another one, and I know that
Gio Reyna is technically also a dual citizen.
That's right. That is right.
Because he technically has Argentinian heritage.
But when we were talking about like the dual nationals or like the guys that were playing for other youth systems prior to making the switch to the U.S. men's national team, at least that's where I was going at.
Okay.
But like people saying what they want about Noah Kai Banks, and I think that like a lot of things are super unfair to him. Is like more and more now. Is he going to be a massive upgrade to the U.S. men's national team at the center back position? Probably just because like right now the center back role is probably not as deep as we thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think obviously your lock is Chris Richards. Then you look at Mark McKenzie, even though Poch is probably looking more at Tim Ream. Austin Trusty, he didn't look terrible.
I think he looked pretty good, honestly, compared to the rest of the central backs we had. He didn't look that bad.
I mean, compare. If you're using this one, like it's definitely
like honestly, like if you just purely off of his recent form for club and then these friendlies, he played better than almost everybody other than Chris Richards.
Yeah,
and even if you just take these friendlies, he played better than Chris Richards.
Yeah, but yeah. So and then obviously if CCV was not injured, maybe this would be a whole other conversation. But
I've been tooting the horn for CCV for so long, and it's like it seems like every cycle it's something with him. He's like injury.
It's
can't find a club. It's like too short. Like, oh, come on.
And we're talking about dual nationals right there. Because I believe he went through the English system, by the way. But
yep.
But yeah, because I believe Tottenham, or at least was it Tottenham at once upon a time?
It's one of the London teams, yeah.
But anyways, but yeah, like a guy like Noah Kai Banks maybe is a little bit of an upgrade because after that you're looking at what Miles Robinson, Walker Zimmerman.
Omar Gonzalez again coming back.
Jesus fucking Christ! Sorry for Kelcey. It's like
I'm trying to think of guys who would come out. And I think this is like the situation with the U.S. team, right? After the first three, you're just like, who's the next guy we're gonna bring?
Aaron Long.
Yeah, is it gonna be Aaron Long? Is it gonna be somebody that is playing currently in the MLS that's really having a great rollout? Like I don't know, because like we're at that point where it's like, yeah, you have your three, right? You have Trusty, you have Richards. Technically, I guess you have Freeman if you want to have a conversation about if he's in the 3-back, then Freeman technically counts as a center back. I'm very, very loose with the center back term here. But after that, you're like Mark McKenzie, Tim Ream. You almost feel like you have to bring him just in case of injury. But who's that? Who's the next guy? Like, because you can't just have that. Like, you got to have somebody else. And I wish Noah Kai Banks was absolutely, I respect his decision. Whatever his decision was, and I think we talked about this before, like, if he doesn't want to do it, he doesn't want to do it. That's fine. I accept that. I think everybody needs to accept that because he doesn't feel like he belongs in the U.S. system, and that's fine. I accept that, and I wish you the best, and I hope we beat you every time we play you, and that's just the competitor in me. But, I honestly wish he was playing for the men's national team because, honestly, that would have been... Boy, I almost think we have a new starter back here if he walks in, kind of similar to what Balogun, because he's just the what you see at club is like, wow, this guy is so talented. He probably walks in as a starter or at least a first option off the bench situation for center backs. And yeah, it sucks not being able to use that though. But yeah, dual nationals have always played a part in the U.S. men's national team, and it feels like we're at the point now where I don't care if they're a dual national. And if anybody cares anymore that they're dual nationals or not, grow up.
Honestly, man, like
it's ridiculous to oh man, they were born in Germany. They don't know. It's like, do they know how to play soccer? Are they willing to rep the red, white, and blue? Cool. I mean, that's all I care about.
I remember some time when we were getting all these German Americans. I mean, the likes of Chandler, the likes of.
Do you remember the drama around Chandler and Jermaine Jones?
Fabian Johnson, John Brooks.
Yeah, the drama behind all of that, of them becoming America's spine. And obviously Chandler didn't work out very well, but obviously Jermaine Jones did. And, it's like...
Fabian Johnson, I mean...
Fabian Johnson was the best player in the U.S. men's national team.
Players.
Yeah, and he was, for a 4-year stretch there, or 3-year stretch, really, he was the best player in the red, white, and blue. And honestly, that was the best kit they ever had, was the blue sash with the red kit, or red. That was my favorite all-time jersey, since we talked about that earlier. But yeah, I mean, dual national players will always have a place in the U.S. men's national team, and they'll always be prominent.
In the world in general, man. Like, I mean, Germany, Boateng, because, you know, how German is that name? That's
the whole French team.
Well, let's not go there, because, you know, Moose is about to come on. But I think at the end of the day, if a player identifies himself with a national team, that's all I really need. I mean, and the thing is with Noah Kai Banks, he's 19 years old, and like he still hasn't had a cap with the U.S. men's national team. He played in the U.S. system, yes, there's that, but I mean, right now he's playing regularly with FC Augsburg. You know, who's to say that he doesn't get the attention of one of the other top teams in Germany? You know, that could possibly be a conversation with him, because we know how, you know, these German teams like buying the best players of other teams, but like. So his options are still very open. This is like the guy, like, you know, it's like you're asking so much of such someone that's in the teens, right? Like, you know, when it's like when people when they look at like a 15-year-old, what do you want to do when you graduate from high school? Like, they're still freshmen. Like, I mean, like, you know, they're still trying to figure things out, man. Like, so I you know, look, hey, right now he's not getting called up by the U.S. men's national. Like, I mean, he's not playing for the U.S. men's national team. Crazy as that sounds, especially with the way they've been talking about Noah Kai Banks, you would think that this kid is like the starting center back along with Chris Richards, but he's not. He doesn't have a single cap to him.
Yeah.
But you guys are furious because he chose to not come into this call up. Let him decide. He still he's 19. He's gonna be in the 2030 the 2030 World Cup. 2030 World Cup. He's gonna be in 2034. He's going to be probably in 2038. Like, the kid has so much ahead of him that it's not the end of the world if he doesn't commit to a national team right now. So I think that was like really unfair. That once again, everyone uses dual nationals. Everyone does. It's not cheating.
Paul Pogba might use his one-time switch to Jamaica is currently the rumor in time for the World Cup.
It's well, I mean, he ain't making Jamaica's not in the World Cup.
I know, but that's the rumor recently, and I was like, why does that matter?
But like, this is where we are now. And the thing is like, Thiago Silva's kid plays in England system.
Yeah.
I just want to point that out. You know, like,
look, Marco Senna. Does anybody remember who Marco Senna is? Because I do. I mean, central defender for Spain during their initial World Cup Euro trio. Brazilian.
Mm-hmm.
Full-blooded Brazilian, naturalized Spain citizen. Dual national. Biggest part of the Spanish national team's turnaround as a stalwart defensive, because that was something that Spain didn't have previously. And all he did was follow the rules and say, I want to play for Spain one day. And guess what? He played for Spain legally, and everybody accepted him, and he lifted a Euro and a World Cup. I have no complaints with that. I know nobody else should have complaints for it, but for some reason, it's like a 17, 18-year-old kid is like, I don't know what I want to do. Do I have to choose? Nah, kid, you can keep playing.
That's the most 18-year-old thing to actually say.
Like, the whole American concept that we have to make our decision at 18 for what we're going to do with the rest of our life anyways is stupid, but to ask a professional soccer player, hey, what do you want to do? Who do you want to tie your allegiance to for forever? I don't know. I'm 18. Like, what? I barely have my first chest hair. Like, come on. Like, that's where he's at. Like, are we really asking an 18-year-old to just decide that for forever? Because that's... And then you're going to get mad at him. Then you're going to say some really stupid, borderline racist stuff. I'm still
trying to get my driver's license.
Like, people just need to figure it out. Like, the kid doesn't even know how to drive. Like, come on. Like, let's give a little bit of leeway to the conversation here, and let's not try to make this a bigger deal. Let's just figure out what we have already, and then we can have a conversation.
Honestly, man, if you watch these games, I'd be like, I don't even know if I want to play for this team.
Yeah, like, what is offered to me? Hey, like, I'm such a sought after asset.
Tim Ream played like that. Y'all think he's better than me? Like,
I'm sure sit behind that old man? No chance.
I mean, I'm sure he's not thinking like that, but like,
I would 100% be like, the egoist in me is like, I ain't sitting behind that guy. Forget this. I don't want to go play for that country when I can just wait and see if a better country comes. That's the thing, man. You can just chill. He's not. He doesn't. It's not like you get paid more money to go play for another country.
Rudiger ain't getting any younger.
Telling you, man. Look.
But I mean, when it comes down to it, man, I'm a say. So this is gonna just be a quick shot, man. Super safe. Might have just earned a spot. Yeah, you ain't coming back. Those are the three titles. So safe is I think you and me both have the same guy. It's Weston McKennie. I think he's the safest.
Oh yeah,
safest person amongst all other people.
Safe, well safe.
Jedi might be another one for that conversation.
Yep. Matt Freeze
earned a spot. Who from this team do you feel like has done at least enough to to be considered?
Austin Trusty.
Austin Trusty. Okay.
And that's my guy that I'm thinking like off the top of my head. Okay. Easy.
Honestly, I think it's Ajiman.
Yeah, I couldn't pick two, so.
Yeah, I think Ajiman would have been the one. Yeah, and then the other one, yeah, you ain't coming back.
Do you want my honest answer, or do you want the answer that I'm going to actually give because it's realistic?
You can do both.
Christian Pulisic, you're not coming back. No, I'm just kidding. I don't.
Clip it.
But, yeah. Go ahead. I could get yelled at by American fans now.
This is why people don't take it seriously.
Seriously. No, but for real, I think don't come back, Sebastian Berhalter. I think don't come back. I don't see him as even a bench player in this World Cup.
Yeah, I think Sebastian Berhalter is definitely the name that I think of. I'm trying to think of that's probably the only one I can think of. I think honestly, all the guys that are here,
Mark McKenzie might be the only other one where I'm like, you didn't do a whole lot, bud.
But I mean, look at our center back depth.
Yeah, I think he gets it by defact, like just by being in his position. It's
so center back is kind of tricky because of the fact that you can argue Joe Scally could play center back. You could argue Alex Freeman could play center back.
Yeah, it depends on where you classify those two guys.
You could argue Tanner Tessman could play center back. I would say no, but
I think you have a better conversation about Joe Scally and Freeman being and also here's the thing. I think it depends on the formation that he decides to run as a stock. The game. If he's running the 3-back system, then I think you have a legitimate conversation around Scally and Freeman as center backs. If he doesn't, then your conversation is okay. Crap. What do I do now?
No, yeah, I definitely agree with that. But yeah, I think honestly with me the Alex. So the reason why I still like people are probably really Max Armstrong, Max Armstrong of all people. The kid does things that I generally am seeing that I think has value, and that is because this kid's a winger.
Yep,
this kid's a winger for the Columbus Crew, and Pochettino was like, I don't need a winger, I need a left back, and he said, okay.
Sign me up, coach.
Sign me up. And if we're using the 3 in the back system, this actually benefits Max Armstrong a little bit more. Now, this is where I'm going to start talking about the formations. So, I am a believer in the 3 in the back formation. I know that's asking way too much about Tim Ream, so I totally get that part.
Which is why he shouldn't start.
Which is exactly why he shouldn't start. But, and this is where I'm coming into play with the 3 in the back system. Now, when you talk about the wing backs, and it's probably going to be a combination of Anthony Robinson, Sergino Dest, and then depending on how you want to use Tim Weah. But Tim Weah is one of those guys that you need him on the field somehow.
Yep.
So whether whether you do a front 3 where it's Pulisic, Balogun, and Weah, and then midfield is going to be just a very fun conversation. But the wing back play is going to be very crucial, and on top of that, is probably going to be the most overran position group. So guys like Max Armstrong, guys like Tim Weah, guys like Joe Scally, guys like Alex Freeman. This is where their value comes into play, especially with the wingbacks, because if the job and this is what I'm thinking. is if you're gonna make if you're gonna make Australia work, you're gonna make Paraguay work, you're gonna make Turkey work, you have to just be out physical with them. You have to just create as many, close every gap humanly possible for them to create any decisions, which is kind of hard with Australia because I believe that's exactly how they play.
Yeah.
So,
That high octane, high press.
So
the Jurgen Klopp style.
So it's just gonna be hilarious when there's just two teams that both want to press each other, and then it's just like, well, someone has to bring the ball up at some point. So and funny enough, that's how Paraguay plays. So you're in a group with two very defensive teams and one team that is really good on the attack, but is not afraid to defend. So this is an interesting group where, and maybe that's what Pochettino was trying to do in the second half, was like, well, we're gonna have to be the team with the ball. Can we play with the ball? And it just shows that we cannot. I think
with a different different set of players, it's possible.
With the counter, it's worked. If that was the one thing I could take away from these call-ups, the counter does work.
Yep.
The finishing part, that's a whole other thing. But when we saw Anthony Robinson get started with a counter run with him and McKennie, playing off of each other. Same thing on the other side with Malik Tillman and Tim Weah. It worked. The only issue is that those wingbacks are going to get tired, and that's when you bring in a Joe Scally. That's when you bring in a Tanner, not Tanner, but that's when you bring those guys into play. And so that's going to be, to me, that's the challenge with this back three. The midfield is going to be tricky, in my opinion, just because someone's going to be left out. Someone's going to be left out in that midfield. The question is who. Do you give up a Johnny Cardozo to bring in a Malik Tillman, or do you give up, or even a Tyler Adams, because that's also still another conversation to be had.
He'll be healthy by then too.
So the midfield is probably going to be the craziest conversation to have, just because of who do you leave out on the lineup to make this work. Because once again, Tim Weah, you need to find a place for him on the roster. Malik Tillman, another guy that you kind of feel now you need to find a place for him on the lineup. Weston McKennie, he needs to be on the roster. Johnny Cardozo, maybe put him on the bench. So there's a lot of intricacies with the midfield that's going to dictate a lot about how we're going to see the center backs, how we're going to see the wing backs, and how we're going to see the forwards. So this is all encompassing to its own. But I think the strategy for the U.S. it is going to be to outwork the other team in the first half and hope they're on tired legs in the second half, where they can use the pace that they have to exploit. Which is kind of the women's national team.
So it's just kind of how the U.S. has always succeeded when it came to playing. So, no, I agree with a lot of that. I think midfield is definitely going to be a question. I think, to be more clear, it's that not the defensive mid, it's more of my attacking mids. Because realistically, with Pochettino's system, you don't have an in-between mid. You have an attacking mid and you have a defensive mid. You don't have just a midfielder. That role doesn't exist in Pochettino's system.
It's a 6 and a 10.
Yeah, really. I mean, yeah, and you end up with a Malik Tillman and McKennie who ends up playing kind of that 8 double hinge role, but that's by the fact that they just can't get the ball. Like the ball doesn't move if they don't do that. So they inevitably do that. So I think that's the conversation you have to have around. Okay, who's going to be my attacking mids? Is Gio Reyna? Is it Aronson? Who's the guy that sticks around? Because obviously you have to have Tillman. I think you have to have, obviously you have to have McKennie. You're going to end up with Pulisic there. You're going to end up with Timothy Way. I don't know where you classify him at in this roster, but let's just say, for the sake of saying, he's a winger / attacking mid in this situation / wing back. So potentially it takes this position of an attacking mid. But then you also have Diego Luna, who have to have a conversation about, because he's coming back. He's healthy now.
Had a great game also.
Yeah, scored a goal in his game back. And so now you're sitting here and you're like, oh crap, what do I do? Because if Tyler Adams is a shoo-in to start, he's going to be your 4, your 6-4, whatever you want to call them. He's going to be the guy that sits right in front of the center backs. And if anything's to come from these games, it was the fact that you noticed that Poch, for the first time ever, dropped his midfield into the center of the 3-back system, or to form his 3 backs. First time the midfielder has ever dropped into that role, which is what Cardozo was doing, he actually played pretty well in that role. If that's what he wants to do in the World Cup, it changes some options you have, because now you're probably sliding Jedi into a center back role and letting another one of these attacking mids come into this role. But as far as on your bench, I mean, I don't know what you do here, because there are guys that you don't know where they're going to classify him as if they're attacking, if they're putting him as a midfielder. I mean, you can only really have 4 in his systems. You don't really have any other space for more. So what, you carry 8 with you? Okay. After Pulisic, McKinney, Tillman, Tyler Adams, Aronson, I don't know what the next 4 is, because you have a Diego Luna conversation you have to have. You got to have that Timothy Weah conversation of what you want to classify him as. There's options, and I don't like the fact that there's so many options that I don't trust a lot right now, because there's a lot that you're like, maybe I do keep Cardoso. Maybe I don't keep Cardoso. Maybe Tyler Adams isn't fully healthy, so maybe I don't need to keep a guaranteed spot. Do I bring Christian Roldan, who, while, I'm not expecting him to be that great of a assist guy, he plays his position. He does what he does, and he does it well. Aiden Morris, like McGlynn, these are all guys you have to have a real conversation about where they fit on this roster, if they can come on this roster. Did they earn a spot? I think some of them did, some of them didn't, and I don't envy Pochettino for having to make this part of the decision, especially since the fact you'll take 5 center backs with you. I think we're all set on you're taking 5 central defenders, 4 central defenders probably, and then a Freeman where you can probably put a slash center back in his role. But yeah, that to me, that midfield is just going to be so crammed with what to do, because you know your front three. Your front three is fine. No surprises are going to happen in the next little while. I mean, I think Haji Wright, it's just been a situation where he's just been injured for so long. You don't trust that to be a long-term situation. So, which sucks, because I think he could be beneficial to this team, but I just don't, I don't think there's a spot for him. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what you want to do with that midfield, but I just know there's like 12 guys you have to have a conversation about, and you probably only have 8 roster spots to fill that in. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to take guarantees on Pulisic, McKinney, Tyler Adams, Aronson, and Tillman, that's really 3 spots, and you got 6 other guys you got to fill in here. So I don't know what you do.
Yeah, I think this is where it comes down to the guys that can play multitude positions well.
Yeah. And if you can play a hinge, I think you have a better opportunity.
Definitely. It's gonna be interesting. But all right, to wrap this up, man. Final grade. What is the grade that you're giving on this one? I'm a just drop it right now. It's a D. This is a D grade. While the first halves were great, but that's like 50% of it, right? I think the things that we saw in those first halves are a good sign of kind of how this team can play in your face. But the thing that's lacking is the finishing. The thing that's lacking is the decision making in the final third. Those are the things that's hurting this team. Are they fixable? Yes. Is there anybody on this roster that would be considered a safe pick, harm their chances of making the World Cup roster? Absolutely not.
Maybe one.
Maybe
but
one.
He still has a spot no matter what.
But yeah, I think it's gonna be very telling when we have the final announcement, for which I really am not looking forward to the stupid spectacle that is called the U.S. men's national team call up that they do every World Cup, but they're gonna do it anyways. But we'll see who's gonna be that 26-man roster for Mauricio Pochettino. But you do have 2 more tests before you go into that first group stage match. And that is you're having 2 friendlies, and that is against Germany and Senegal. So, very not easy opponents once again. You're talking about Germany, once again, just as efficient as can be when it comes down to their football. And then you have Senegal, who are genuinely pissed off for all the right reasons. And so, they definitely want to make a statement in this World Cup. Especially all that's going to be continuing to go on with what happened with the whole AFCON final decision. But yeah, while there is some positive take, it just gets overshadowed by just all the bad stuff that did happen in these 2 games. Yes, they're friendlies. Probably take it with a grain of salt, but the closer and closer you get to the World Cup, you want to see some consistency, and you want to see maybe not trying something out, even if it is just to prove a point. But yeah, so I give it a D. It's not an epic failure, but it's definitely it's not helping you pass, but that's for sure.
Yeah, I think realistically for performance wise, I think it's safe to say performance wise, I feel like that's a flat F. Like you failed. I don't think there was anything good performance to take away from this. Moral victories, do they really exist? No. Understanding for what's to come and what's to build on, I think, yeah, you get probably a C grade in that overall, because now I have some understanding on positioning on certain positions. And I think Pochettino now understands what he can and can't do with certain guys. And like you mentioned, the counterattacks worked with no matter what. But some of the other formations, some of the other stylistic changes didn't translate to anything. It was just empty calories, if you will. They were just out there. And that can't happen. So he now knows, like, okay, I can't run a 4-3-3. Okay, realistically, the 4-3-2-1, not with this team. But
Definitely
my defensive, yeah, my defensive strategy to build out of the back quickly works when there's a turnover. So now I can adapt my overall formation defensively and offensively. So I think that understanding is huge for what just happened. So going forward, that understanding gets a better grade than our performance grade, but our performance grade was just awful. And it's specifically targeted at the guys that should be performing well at this point in time. I don't like the fact that Pulisic is not performing well going into the World Cup. We are 60 days away, and I don't see Christian Pulisic as a guy that I can trust to lead the line, if you will. Do I see McKinney as that guy? Yes. But I don't see our talisman as that guy. Again, heavy quotation marks around talisman, just in case you're listening to just audio. But yeah, so that's where I'm at. So like overall performance F, but understanding is a C. So I guess you balance it out as the same grade as you got, D, but it wasn't pretty.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, that is the U.S. men's national team. You got Kelcey giving a D. Was it a D?
Yeah, overall D.
Overall D. Myself a D. Can it get better? It probably should, but but we'll see, man. U.S. men's national team is an interesting story now. Honestly, man, the performances of these host nations are going to be more and more on a microscope, especially how these international breaks have gone out, or even some of the drama that has been coming on, especially with Canada now having Marcelo Flores now being on their team, making the one-time switch from Mexico. But yeah, I think it's going to be imperative that all three of these nations are able to perform in the World Cup, because you don't want to be the host nation that didn't come out of the group. And the pressure is still very much on all three of these teams. Whether you fancy their chances better, depending on what group they're in, it's still going to be a tall task. But yeah, that's basically it, man. Kelcey, this is your time to shine. What's going on with Belly Up Sports, and of course, what's going on with Hilo?
Yeah, same old. Getting ready for the NFL draft. It is April, so we are in the month of the NFL draft for Hilo Sports and also for Belly Up. So you prepare for the live stream of the Belly Up Sports NFL Draft first round coverage, just like we do every year. DJ will be hosting, as well as me as the co-host throughout that process. Yet again, we'll be getting guests from all over Belly Up Sports. Maybe you'll see Hector again. We'll see. But, you can expect a lot of fun. It's 4 hours worth of conversation and coverage of the draft, and we do cover our thoughts on the picks, and we let our experts across Belly Up talk about it. So we have a lot of that. We also have a lot of soccer content that'll be coming out, talking about our group stages, as well as our return of the summer of soccer, this time for the World Cup. If you guys remember that from last year, Hector obviously was on the show with me, and I was hosting. Hector and then our good friend Nick were on as our panelists and analysts, and good friends that made fun of me for talking about flags. So you can expect more of that coming up in April, also in May.
Also, I would like to address the Blazer will be coming back. So
yes, the fancy Blazer will be coming back. But yeah, can't wait for that. So there'll be a lot of coverage there. But you can check out all things Hilo Sports every Thursday on the Belly Up Sports YouTube page or wherever you find podcasts. And you can check out our social medias at High Low Sports or at high_low_sports on X, formerly known as Twitter. Yeah, you can check us out there and follow us, have fun, talk smack, do all the good stuff, make fun of you for being a dumb fat American who just doesn't know anything about ball. I'm okay with all of that.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Make sure you guys check it out, man. Yeah, it's going to be a busy summer for Belly Up and, of course, myself as well. But, we got to find out who are the other teams that are joining in the World Cup because, obviously, the play-ins are done. And, obviously, we have a special guest. We have Moussa of Bo Football coming in to share his thoughts. Also, he's going to talk to me a little bit about the U.S. men's national team as well. So you'll hear what our lovable Moussa has to say. Along with my infatuation with the Congo. Edward, do not balk me. Please don't balk me. But yeah, so we're going to talk a lot about that. It's always a fun conversation. So, so we'll segue into Moussa.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
All right, guys. We officially now know who's going to be in the World Cup. Like, it took us, I don't know how many days from that awkward drawing, but here we are. We now know who is going to be in the World Cup. But before we get to that, obviously we have our favorite person from St. Louis, Moussa from Mo Football TV, man. Moussa, it's always a pleasure to have you on, man. I appreciate you taking some time.
Of course. Favorite person. I kind of like that. I like the ring to it.
Yeah. You're very much well beloved, man. Obviously, Moussa, you have such a different viewpoint on things, especially when it comes to this game, being that you come from a football nation, right? France, and,
yes.
and with the Senegalese roots, of course, as well. I'm always like intrigued by the outsider's perspective of whatever the hell you want to call this culture, if you want to call it that. It's funny is like, and I know it's not. I don't know how many French people have certain opinions on American football, but I think when you specifically, it's more towards the Brits that feel they're a certain way. But I think, funny enough, calling it soccer culture probably makes the most sense to call it because I don't really think that the U.S. is necessarily playing football, if you get what I mean. So I think calling it soccer in some sense kind of makes sense for America because it's not football, but it is something else. So why not call it soccer?
Yeah, and I guess, and it's the British that started soccer to begin with. So, there's that ongoing battle of soccer, football, soccer. But at the end of the day, there's another sports that is more popular here. And the de facto is that we have rugby for the other ball that you throw. So I think that argument is, I think it's just keeping the hatred going, I guess. But they all call it soccer. It started there. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the British have to win a trophy so that they can feel better maybe about themselves.
Yeah, they've close but no cigar lately for England.
Not going home.
Yeah, it definitely hasn't gone home for a while. But obviously, before going into this part of the conversation of the podcast, right. Me and Kelcey, we went on our whole thing with the U.S. men's national team. But for you, I think you're a little bit different. Obviously, you grew up in France. You were raised to also love Senegal. But since moving into the United States, do you have some sort of affiliate? Do you feel like some sort of affiliation to the United States men's national team, or?
I do have like a tie to it. Sure, I even pay to be part of, oh, look at that right here. See, I have, I guess, that federation membership and all that. So I do have it. I do follow it. I live here, so I have to kind of know enough of it. And there's, as you know, there's like my tier level of if one is out, the other one is. So I will always support it. I will go watch the game. If it's France versus US or US versus Senegal, clearly you know who I'm going to pick.
That's fair.
But I do want them to do well, and I keep track of their performance. And I guess it's kind of hard not to because I follow soccer. So yeah. I hear you guys and I hear everybody else. And I get to watch from behind and see the perspective of the naysayer, the yesayers, and the people in the middle. And I've kind of put a few things in my mind based on what I've seen of what's going well, what isn't, and what could do better. Um, I don't know if you want to hear that now but
Hey,
it's quite interesting.
by all means, go full send. I will say, like, there's a deep part of me when I was watching, these friendlies. One, it's friendlies. I know we need to take some grain of salt into it because obviously they are friendlies.
Right.
But I am starting to become more and more as I'm trying to enter the mind of who is Mauricio Pochettino. I honestly think he's taking these friendlies to as full advantage as he can, and he's going to test out things. I mean, we literally saw it in the Portugal game. He put Christian Pulisic at the false nine role, right? Like,
Right.
he's like, hey, you want to be the hero? Well, here you go. Go be the hero and see how that works out for you. I know there's people that feel that Ricardo Pepi got jaded, Ajiman got jaded. Balogun, I believe, went back to Monaco for after playing Belgium.
Right.
So I don't necessarily felt that. I think the fact that he just wants to test something out just because, well, I don't want him to test things out during the World Cup. So isn't that the point of a friendly? Like, I mean, there's no real consequence for losing or winning. Maybe people recreating the FIFA rankings for all means. But I think with the friendlies, and I just wanted them to compete, which the theme of the story for that was just first half looked great, but then the second half, that's when things didn't go as great. But so that being said, obviously a lot of Americans have been super critical of these friendlies. Am I the one in the right, or am I being crazy here, not being as critical with these friendlies with the U.S. men's national team?
I think you probably could be like in the middle-ish, we'll say, because I think the biggest thing that I've seen you kind of agree with when it comes to the frustration is that you're almost 70 days away from it. You should almost have your starting 11 locked down. And then the rest is prove me that you are worthy of the national team to be in the World Cup. And it looks like those are the starting 11 that's technically have to be in the starting 11 are not as ready or prepared compared to other countries. And I'm saying maybe 95% of the countries, if you look at them, their starting 11 or maybe 15 are already set. And the other ones are the ones that are so close to make it or part of the U23 that might make it to the World Cup. And from what I'm seeing from the U.S. is that is not ready whatsoever. And when you have your goalkeeper where you don't have one, that's a guarantee to play. That's questionable to begin with. So I understand the frustration that people have. But for the coach, these friendlies is to be tactically to see what tactic you're going to use against opponents that you most likely will see. That's why they pick European and South American. All of the teams are picking friendlies now is because they don't necessarily face those teams. So they want to see what it's like to play them. And clearly they saw that European just slapped them twice. I was surprised they actually picked Belgium and Portugal because that's two European countries. You're supposed to kind of take, from different globe to see how you face with them. So
I think there's also like a logistical standpoint because both Belgium and Portugal did end up also face Mexico.
Okay,
So
yeah,
I-
so that
That could probably be just USA and Mexico kind of working together to see who they wanted to take on. Obviously we have two more friendlies that are going to be played before we get to the World Cup, which I
Right.
believe is Germany and Senegal. So I think that's going to, I think at that point, that's the dress rehearsal, right? This is the team. We'll play what we'll play, see what we like, see what we don't like. Maybe pull the subs and bring in the subs in the second half after I saw all that I need to see for Pochettino. But I'm in that where I'm at. I'm just like I'm not trying to overreact right away.
Right.
I'm not trying to say that I mean, look at Football Asada. I mean, they're already talking about how they're gonna mollywop South Africa and beat. They're saying they're gonna finish on top of their group. I mean,
Okay.
I wouldn't sleep on the teams that are on that group. Just like I'm not sleeping on the teams that are on the U.S.'s group. I think obviously in the World Cup, anything can happen. You would want to hope that the home soil does its thing, but we also know kind of more towards with Mexico, when you're not performing, the fans are gonna let you know.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a little different here in the U.S. That's probably like the only thing I'll say that's different. Maybe there's not that pressure, but where in Mexico, you're like, I would hate to have like a World Cup in England, and if England's not performing like that, that's like, hey, let's have extra security around the team for these next coming days. So
Yeah. And I think that's the pressure that I'm not seeing from U.S. soccer. I think you hear it because we're in those inner circles, so we hear the outspokenness of it, but I don't know if I see it when I see them play.
I feel like with the American pundits, and obviously we gotta look at our Tim Howard, our Landon Donovan, our Jimmy Conrad, our Hercules Gomez, like those heads, not FS1. I don't. Nick Wright, stick to American football, stick to basketball. Let's not have you and Chris Broussard talk about the top. I don't know how many players they picked to watch for the World Cup, and still cannot believe you put.
Whole Europe was laughing.
I can't believe you put Pulisic over Harry Kane. Harry Kane has the most pressure of all the people, by the way. But yeah, that was interesting. But the thing is, like, I feel like the second anyone becomes critical of not even just U.S. men's national team, like even, and I can say this just because of what's going on with the Houston Dynamo, people wanting answers and no one really giving them the answers that they want to hear. Right now, the Dynamo are just doing so many things that I'm just like, what's going on here? And when we have like these media personalities like Glenn Davis, who is a Houston radio legend when it comes to the sport, not only in Houston but also like across the U.S., just well known for his analytics and his discussions. Basically got shown the door by the Houston Dynamo. Was their broadcaster for so many years, and then just let him out. After one interview of being critical to Pat Onstad.
I saw, and he's not holding his tongue either these days.
And I appreciate that he still continues. You have writers like Victor Ariza who keeps asking questions, and you even have owner Ted Siegel kind of giving him a snarky response to a question that he had. And I mean, so like the second you're critical, people are just like, "Oh, relax, it's soccer. It's not like it." No, it should be that environment. Like I go to, if I like back in El Salvador where my family is from in Metapan, like. If that team loses, which Metapan, by the way, has a lot of success over the years, I believe like 10 championships under their belt. Like they went through a period of just being terrible, and the fans let them know.
Right.
And I mean now they're pretty good. They still haven't won a cup yet, but they are getting better each day. Shout out to my not really my nephew, but kind of unofficially my nephew, who actually works as like a analyst, like a video analyst guy for Metapan, by the way.
Nice.
But yeah, like there's just like you try to be critical about the team, and then everyone just tells you, "Shut up. This is not. They weren't supposed to be here." Is what we get more often than not. And I think same thing when Landon Donovan tries to be critical, whether it's the right thing to be critical about or whether it's the wrong thing to be critical about. At the end of the day, like there should be some sort of pressure. There should. Like you can say what you want of BBC, like when they're radio heads when they're critical for something, and they're critical.
Yes.
Righteous Felon Craft Jerky is the official jerky of Belly Up Sports. For over a decade, Righteous Felon Craft Jerky has led the American meat snack revolution by concocting delicious, adventurous, U.S.-sourced jerky recipes for uncompromising carnivores across the country. With 15 different flavors to choose from, Righteous Felon has all jerky lovers covered, and by using promo code BELLYUP, you will get 15% off your purchase at RighteousFelon.com. Do your taste buds a favor today and rip into a bag of Righteous Felon jerky.
and they say some really dumb things too. Like, I mean, it's like I'm like, wow, I thought I would have said that, but like, it's impressive that they can get away with it. But if someone that sounds like me, if I say it, it just seems like this. Don't be taking this so seriously. But then you want me to take this game seriously. I like, what is it? What is it, Europe? What do you want me to do?
You're telling us we're the wrong people to say that you're taking it too seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, and then maybe that's how things are happening. And I do see maybe some pundits, I guess I will say, that's their roles. That's why they're getting paid now. The only thing that I wish maybe some of it would happen behind closed door, because when you have your OGs, right? Sometimes that message will go better if it's in the locker room when you go and you show up for practices. I think they showed last practice when Brazil, they had Ronaldo, they had Romario at the practice field watching them practice. Senegal has El Hadj Diouf and I think 3 others that literally was at the CAF during the training with the younger players and was giving them pointers and how to talk to the media and all that in the national team cocoon, we'll call it, right? And you could see definitely that some of the players were more responsive. But I think it looks like with the U.S. is that, I don't know if it's the generation or...
I think it very much is the generation. I mean,
and how they grew up compared to others. Because I don't think a lot of them have grown up to look up to those guys that were there before them, right? A lot of them are U.S., grew up other places in the world. So they're not like they watch Tim Howard in the U.S. And says, this is my idol. And maybe that's some of the disconnect that I see that is the disconnect, is that right now you're barking at some players that necessarily did not look up to you growing up.
Yeah, I think
so that message comes differently than.
And I think it is you kind of mentioned the younger generation. I kind of agree to it. It's just a bunch of old men yelling at clouds, right? I mean, Alexi Lala is probably a great example of that. But I would love to see where a Brian McBride, even though he's no longer has any affiliation to the U.S. men's national team, but seeing a guy like Brian McBride, Eddie Pope, Kobe Jones, just be able to walk around and impart some wisdom to this, especially guys that know what it takes to be in the World Cup.
So we did see ONU. He is right. ONU. He's part of that. But I think I have not seen yet a former player with the current players, right? And I've seen other old soccer players, we'll say, from those teams that are actually taking questions to the media because they're in the inner circle with those players. I've seen France, Senegal, Germany, a whole bunch of other places where former players are actually taking questions to the media because they've had the in and out with the players. So they're almost kind of shielding them from all of the critics. Right now, from what I'm seeing from the U.S. is they're getting barked at by former players, by media, by fans, by casuals.
There's
everything is there.
There's no safety.
Yes.
And I totally get that part. And I think, but at the same time, I feel like a lot of these guys, they kind of unfortunately bring it upon themselves. And it's, Christian Pulisic having a docuseries that no one asked for. Tim Weah having the craziest quote of all time, which, it's unfortunate as he's my adopted son, to be the media is evil. Which, I mean, talk about giving them prime material, with that.
Yeah, you don't make friends there.
It's just, but there are American players that I think respond in a better way. Tyler Adams, who I think is to me, the most professional player I've ever seen as far as Americans goes.
Yep.
I mean, last World Cup in Qatar, right? They're going to go play Iran. You had that Iranian reporter that kind of came at Tyler Adams a little strong, going at him with like the current status of America as far as how they treat African Americans, which that's a crazy question to ask like a soccer player at a World Cup.
You're fishing.
And Tyler Adams just stayed poised, answered it in like the most PC way possible, and moved along. And I mean, very captain-esque, right? Like when you think about it. So there are people in that locker room that I feel like, cooler heads always prevail. I think that's what we need in that locker room. But yeah, it's unfortunate that the games went the way they went. But at the same time, you're talking about nations like Belgium and Portugal. Yes, Cristiano Ronaldo wasn't there. But I mean, you still have.
They don't want him. Technically,
people got mad at me. People got mad at me in 2022 when I said that Portugal looked better without Ronaldo on the field. So
I think they're trying to phase him out, and I think they're saving him. He's going to be here for the World Cup. That's not even a question. I think they would mostly saving him from all of the crazy travels, and so he has to go from the Middle East. People are in the middle in Europe, so he has to travel as half of what a full circle compared to the other guys have to do half. So I think maybe that was not the perfect timing to have these two countries. And I don't think it was also the smartest to have the other two countries they have coming for their final two friendlies, because typically you want your last game to almost be close enough for you to give someone a beat down before going into the World Cup. And then you're facing Germany and Senegal.
Which, I mean, coin flip wise, Germany and Senegal has the right idea. But...
Yes. So they're getting themselves accustomed to US. And then I don't think that it will be a beat down per se, but I think it will go one way or the other. Those two games will help them get ready for the World Cup, because Germany and Senegal are not coming here as friendlies. Or
I think once again
they'll perform.
It's the dress rehearsal. This is
This
is the last bit of chances to find any kinks that they need to address right away before, it's winter go home.
But they're professionals, and you don't know. Maybe it's that World Cup feel that will kind of be that clap that will say, "Hey, this is not game time. There's no excuses, and the whole world is watching." Technically,
exactly. But all right, that's enough U.S. talk, because you already heard me and Kelcey have a full rant about it. But we know who's going to the World Cup, right? The play-ins are done. We're going to start with UEFA, because I want to save FIFA for last, just because there's a specific country that has a special place in my heart.
Oh boy!
So we're going to start in the UEFA. The UEFA play-ins. Path A, Path B, Path C, and Path D. We'll start with Path A, and obviously it's one of the crazier ones. Coming out of Path A, which had Northern Ireland, Wales, and Italy, Bosnia and Herzegovina are going to the World Cup. And I believe this is their second time as an independent nation, right?
Yes.
So, second time making it to the World Cup. And on the flip side, you have Italy for the third straight World Cup missing out. Gigi Buffon has stepped down of his role with Italy, which now I just found out that he's no longer playing. And then on top of that, a guy that, I say a lot of things about Vincent Kompany of how it's impressive to get relegated with Burnley and then just get given the Bayern Munich job.
Mm-hmm.
Gattuso has to be by far, I don't know how this guy still gets work, because I was just today's years old to realize that he was managing Italy. So
and I love the Bulldog. Gattuso. I would have never guessed he was going to be a coach to begin with.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love Gattuso. The dude's like a complete dog, and I loved everything about him. I just get, it's funny because when you talk about like two goons, right? You have Gattuso on one side, and then you have Diego Simeone on the other side. Yeah. And I believe Diego Simeone more as a coach than I do Gattuso.
100%. And I think, and they need to keep him away from a microphone for a very long time. maybe losing was kind of because as a player, he won things.
Mm-hmm.
I think his demeanor as a player that we've seen, he will run through a wall. I don't know if he's composed enough to be first a coach and second a national team that has not qualified in the World Cup 2 times before.
Yeah, and I mean, before we give props to Bosnia and Herzegovina, I mean, like, what's going on with Italy? There was this team won what was it, the pandemic Euro, right? Like, it was like 2020 Euro, but it was like played in 2021.
Yeah, and then they won '06. Was it right?
They won the '06 World Cup, and yeah, they just haven't been able to not even get back in the big competition. It's
They
definitely
sold.
not the players. It's not the players, right? Like, I mean,
Mhm.
the player. There's players that are playing for some of the best teams in the world. You could say Serie A has maybe dipped down over the years, but I think I'm not gonna be as critical as Jose is about Serie A. I think Serie A is still very much a good league, but
Uh,
I guess it depends, you
I,
guys.
I would say, and among us French, we're just saying that they sold their soul for the '06 World Cup, and as you can see,
You're
they have
definitely lying.
never recovered from there. Um, and then we always joke as well that France took it '98 to Brazil, and guess what? They have not won it again. And Argentina is next, but that's a different discussion. But
Wait, didn't they win then Brazil win it the following World Cup?
for 10, was it Germany? No,
No, in 20. Oh wait, because they won in 2002. You beat them
did
in
they?
90. Yeah, you beat. I mean, I remember waking up at 4 in the morning to watch this.
Oh, dang. So that I guess I missed that part then. Crap. All right, so
I
reverse,
mean,
reverse.
I'm still waiting for the $5 for my dad. So I mean,
Well, yeah, I think you keep waiting, keep waiting. All
yeah,
right, so I guess I digress then. Yes, but I think for them, Italy, one, I think at that time, Serie A was probably the best league and I think with all the corruption and
mm,
everything else kind of went down, when we saw that Juventus, AC Milan, and all that were all into that mess, I think that's where the EPL was able to then take over, and they've ever since been trying to come back. But the way they did it is also by then I hate to be that, but they started to look the outside for players to come in and build their Serie A back.
mm,
Because if you watch, a lot of their superstars are not Italian.
mm-hmm. No, no,
When
yeah.
before, but before, when you were looking, AC Milan, Juventus, all of these were the ones supplying the national team with players.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's not more so of that. So I think they're trying to recover from all that mess, but it's showing in the national team because you're not producing players, ready players. Because, like, can you recall any players from the Italian team that plays, we'll say, in the EPL that you will say, that person?
That he should like he's like a good Italian player. Or
Right.
well, I mean, Donnarumma has not looked great this season.
Yeah.
Not definitely not PSG level where he
No.
was at. Um,
But you see how
Tana-
you're thinking hard to find one?
Sandro Tonali isn't. Well, I don't think he's like the main talking point when you think of Newcastle.
Right.
Yeah, so I can definitely see what you mean by that. Yeah, I think Italy lost like whatever identity it was, and I think that's what they were hoping with Gattuso was just to, like, I guess, find that fire that they had back in 2006.
Yeah.
Um, just that you also mix that in with some alcohol. So that was the only thing.
I'm sure there's more than that, but that's a different
But
discussion.
obviously, yeah, huge letdown, a huge
Yeah.
meltdown for Italy. I wonder what's gonna happen with them. Like, I mean, when you think of maybe not this level of bad, but obviously when Germany lost in 2002 to Brazil in the World Cup, what they do, they restructured their complete system to the point that even the Bundesliga, like, you have to have X amount of German players on your team.
Yep.
They regulated the league to then, and with the ambition of winning a World Cup, which they accomplished in 2014.
You have to.
Do we eventually see that with the Serie A, or
they technically have to do that, because what major country you can think of does not have that regulations? That's it. You have to promote within. I know England has it. I know France has it, and a lot of other European countries have that requirement. Not only in your first team, but also academy and all that. So if they want to come back, they will definitely have to look among themselves. And probably a lot of the old front office, some of them have to leave, because you need not the, this is how we used to do it. Because clearly it has not worked in, 12, 16 years?
Essentially, Serie A is Manchester United, is what you're saying.
United is a whole nother discussion. That's
but all right, let's get to some positives. I mean, Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Yes.
I mean, they're here, second appearance in the World Cup. That's massive for them, right? Like, this is a big milestone for them to move into qualify once again for the World Cup. And I mean, the unlikeliness of heroes for Bosnia happens to be an American who chose to play for Bosnia and Herzegovina. A dual national, of all things, was the star of this game. But I mean, what should teams be worried about when you go in with a team like Bosnia, who they're not gonna fall down. They're not gonna go down without a fight. I mean, they went the distance against Wales. They went to penalties, and then of course went to penalties with Italy. So this is a team that's gonna get dirty with you, and they're not afraid to get physical. So, which honestly is a great embodiment of CONCACAF. So I mean, this isn't gonna be an easy walkthrough. If you're, at least I hope it's not gonna be for Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Oh, I was very happy. I grew up around Bosnian people, from France all the way to here, so close friends. And I have Checo in very high in my greatest players. So just seeing him able to do that. But at the same time, they do have the skillful players. But that pride that they come with playing, that's one thing that no matter how good you are, this is the worst players you want to face ever. And just hearing the story, right, when he's like, when they ask him how does he feel, and he made the whole story about when his mom got angry and asked him to go back home, and then a few minutes later there was a bomb that exploded and killed a lot of his friends. I mean, this is the first thing that comes into mind when you qualify for the World Cup. So that means they are playing for something more than just them playing soccer. Mm-hmm. So if you're facing another team that's there because they're happy to be there, like, what else are you going to be doing? Now you have an American kid, technically, he's playing at home, and he took his country to the World Cup. I mean, what better scenario can you have that? Even though he's playing for Bosnia, he's literally playing at home. And I have all my friends who are all celebrating, and you saw my post as well. So I was very happy to see them, at least, because that's what the whole World Cup is all about, is giving those countries the opportunity to show what they have.
Yeah, it goes back to that. You want to see yourself on that field, and I think
Right.
for the people of Bosnia, that's exactly what you're getting. And I mean, for that kid that grew up in the United States, but kind of similar to that kid that grew up similar to myself, a kid that grew up here in the United States but was raised in a culture that's just not American. I mean, people can take jabs at the U.S. for not doing a better job at recruiting him or whatever you want, but this kid saw an opportunity. This country is offering him what he wants, and sometimes that's the best thing for a player to do. Is go.
Wasn't his name shortened at first in his jersey, and then after that he put his full name. They showed the story where I think it was just Emir, and then he added the full name. So us growing up in foreign families, when you grew up in the country, it almost doesn't really matter where you are. If you have that huge ecosystem around you, you'll be proud of both, but they call them pride will beat any benefits you can offer anyone.
Exactly, man. So really excited for Bosnia and Herzegovina. I can't wait for them to showcase themselves. I'm hoping we'll get to see some Bosnian people in the crowds in this World Cup. And I mean,
Oh, you will.
It's going to be a quite emotional day for them when, for their second appearance. But moving on to Path B, man, this one had the likes of Ukraine, Poland, Albania, and of course the winners from here, Sweden, who beats Poland. We're not going to see Robert Lewandowski in his last World Cup. Obviously this conversation for this World Cup, while it is the expanded World Cup, this is, the first time an entire continent is hosting a World Cup, right? And the last thing was that all the legends of this game, of this era, are gonna finally put their careers essentially to its near end and the end of their chapters. Obviously, with the names of Lionel Messi potentially this being his last World Cup, Cristiano Ronaldo last World Cup, maybe Memo Ochoa. I'm not entirely sure. That
I thought he was done already.
Yeah, me too. Any big name, Luka Modric, Conte, all these guys that we saw grow in this game. This is kind of their closing chapter, right, to their international careers at least. Well, we're not going to see Robert Lewandowski here. Obviously, for him, for me as someone that is a fan of Robert Lewandowski, it sucks, but it is what it is. This is why if you didn't want to be in this scenario, you should have won your group. But now here you are, and you're gonna be just like us. You'll be sitting at home watching the World Cup with us.
Well, I don't know, like us, private jet, first class.
Okay, yeah,
he's gonna be off the field like us.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll say that.
Better phrasing. But, are you a little bit disappointed that we're not going to see Robert Lewandowski here, or are you?
I don't think I followed him as much because he played in leagues that I didn't really follow as much. But I was kind of disappointed that if this is his closing chapter, we don't get to see that last one. I guess I maybe fantasized too much about soccer, football, but as it appears, but those are the type of stories that I want to see when it comes to the World Cup, because that's what it is. So now him just watching it and then have to make maybe one additional friendly game to give him, that feel-good story. But
the proper send-off.
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But on the flip side, man, Sweden. I mean,
Sweden? Isak?
It's a name, right? When you think of back in the day, right? Like the nation that was like a massive thorn at once upon a time was when back when football was probably a little bit more structured than when it came to formations and tactics and all that. But obviously, once upon a time they were considered one of the best football nations in the world. And then a little guy named Pele decided to rewrite that history.
Thank you.
So but Sweden, obviously, I would, it's funny because you think of IKEA, right? Efficient, just sturdy, does what they're supposed to do. What's it going to be like for those teams that are going to have to face Sweden, in this World Cup?
I think if they can neutralize, I guess, more their offense, I think for me is the killer when it comes to be afraid of. So I think it's more of neutralizing their three talismans. But if they beat you to scoring at first, and then that's when 11 players are defending, then I can see them actually make some noise. But from the last few games that I've seen them play, is that I think if they allow the first goal or two, then they have difficulties coming back from behind. But if you let them score the first goal, then that's when you have a pin in your thorn. So I'm curious to see how they will do on that in this World Cup here, because they have to face a lot more teams that they're not used to facing in general.
You know, that's interesting to point out because, like, while the teams that are already qualified, right, they, like a U.S. going in and take on a Belgium and a Portugal during this international break, for Sweden, like, you did get to you played against other European competition, probably guys that nations that you've already played against plenty of times at this point. But now you're talking about those two friendlies going into the World Cup, like those two. How critical are those friendlies now for Sweden, or for Sweden's case, like they've been playing competitive matches at this point. Maybe their sharpness is a little bit different versus a team that is just playing friendlies right now.
But I think a lot of it for them, though, they've had to stay within their own geographic area, right? So they didn't get to pick a South American, African, or team to play against. So I think that will be the critical part for their last two games. Now that they see if the tactics that they've used to qualify are still working with the two countries they're going to get to play against, versus the team that have already qualified. They will have 4 games to be tactically ready. So I think that's the only thing. But sharpness will maybe benefit, but it will also not help, because that means their body will be in full mode for now all the way till June and keep going.
Yeah, definitely. I think also I'm kind of surprised that a lot of countries didn't do similar to what kind of Belgium and Portugal did, where they decided, let's come to the Western Hemisphere, let's play games here, just to get, I guess, adjusted to what it's going to be like here. Also, I will say, shout out to Atlanta. I think the field was good for under the parameters that they had to do, which was switching over to natural grass. So I think more countries should have been doing that, coming here just to like get a feel of the games. And I know people were making fun of the water breaks, but it's because it's gonna happen in the summer. Like, it's gonna get hot in the summer, so like the water breaks might as well add that strategy to it. Which, by the way, is no longer 2 minutes; it's 3 minutes now. So talk about
we all know what it is for.
Talk about a little of a tactical advantage there, just to get the tactics board out real quick, and it's like it's an interesting timeout play now if you use it right. It could be very advantageous.
They all use them now. That water break we all know. And if the roof is closed, I don't know why you need a water break, but it's a different discussions.
The AC is a little too hard. The AC is going a little too strong.
Yes.
But yeah, that's Path B. Sweden is going to be an interesting nation to watch. Obviously, Alexander Isak, amongst other names that are going to be there for Sweden. Path C, I think probably the one that everyone kind of knew how it was going to go, right? I don't think anybody questioned who was going to win this one, especially with the likes of Romania, Kosovo, and Slovakia. Turkey was viewed as the heavy favorite in this one, obviously with the likes of Yildiz, with the likes of Arda Güler. Turkey just seems to be that team that everyone's kind of really intrigued in watching. I've been monitoring this team mainly because of Arda Güler, for obvious reasons.
Yep.
But yeah, no, Turkey has been. I mean, even from watching them in the Euro, man, I liked how this team has been playing. They play a little bit more. I feel like more open. I don't know what it is. Maybe that's my viewpoint, and that's probably just because of Arda Güler. But I mean, there's a confidence with Turkey, and I'm kind of liking it. And I think that confidence took them all the way to now qualifying the World Cup, and obviously going to be facing USA as they are in the same group.
Turkey has never lacked of confidence. I don't think that's something that you don't have to worry about them. I was surprised that they were still in the playoff run, but there's no such thing as a World Cup without Turkey on there. So hopefully Ozil will come to the US because that's one I want to see. You know, a non-player, but I've always liked Turkey to begin with, even after the name change.
I think Ozil. I think Ozil was done very much wrong from Germany. You know,
Oh,
with the whole Tunisian thing that sparked, which I was like, he just said hi. It's like
he
he
has to.
like he literally just went to go be like to be formal. Like
Yeah,
there was nothing wrong with it. But yeah, I think Turkey is gonna be it changes that group, right, where you have, obviously Paraguay, Australia, I'm about to speak Spanish, Australia, USA, and now you have Turkey. I mean, is it unfair to say that Turkey is now the heavy favorites in that group?
I won't say heavy. I probably will say favorite because of how well they've performed in previous tournaments. But I don't know heavy. So I wouldn't be surprised if it will be a 1-2 or a 2-1, first place to second, and them having with the US switch it up. But I'll say they're probably the favorites to be in first place, but I wouldn't be too shocked if it's second.
Yeah, no, I definitely see it, man. But yeah, I mean, young stars, structured players, leadership presence as well. Weirdly enough, young players that have experience as well when you talk about the Euro. So these guys know how to compete, man. So
They have more experience than most senior guys in other countries.
definitely. So Turkey is definitely a team to keep an eye on for sure. And then the last path for UEFA, and that is path D with the likes of Denmark, North Macedonia, Ireland, and of course the team that rises to the top from this group is Czechia or Czech Republic, however you want to say it, but I believe it's now Czechia. So
Chechen, yeah, yeah. Um, I For me that group, Ireland just tanked it because I think it was for them to take it. And I don't know what they were doing or what happened, but I think it was more so of them losing it than Czech Republic to win it.
yeah, I mean Czech Republic obviously beating Ireland in penalties 4-3, and on top of that they beat Denmark in penalties as well,
Right.
which it was remotely not close. So yeah, but you're Denmark. Speaking of, when we talk about guys that we probably will never see again in the international stage, uh, there's some guys in Denmark that, like Christensen, who, for Barcelona. Um, did Ericsson get called up in this one or
I don't think I didn't hear his name.
yeah. But there's some names there in Denmark for sure that we're not gonna see. Um, but once again, this is just the way how things
Win it.
fall line, right? You gotta win your games. And Czech Republic, I mean, they went the distance, kind of similar to with Bosnia. Um, you know, can that? And I mean, they're gonna be in a group with Mexico. They're gonna be with Mexico. They're gonna be in Mexico.
Yeah.
On top of that, so they're gonna be, with the likes of South Korea and South Africa. With Czechia, I mean,
They have a rough
how
one.
much the rest of those teams should not underestimate what Czechia is capable of.
I think they'll probably be the one that's going to have a rough run on in that group.
Hmm.
And I'll probably have another team that's more dangerous than I will say. Um, I'll probably see more of the South Africa or South Korea, probably a little bit more chances on the second and third.
Hmm.
Or I guess if Mexico wakes up, I guess.
Yeah, and I think obviously depending on when you have to play Czechia, whether it's that first game or the second game, that third game could be very different, right? Like you're already qualified, maybe you rest some guys before you're going into the knockout rounds, so that could open things up for Czechia as well. But definitely not a team to overlook as well at the end of the day, because once again, I don't think there's such thing as an easy matchup when it comes to the World Cup, because there's something to play for. Like everyone's playing, opening day, first kickoffs, everyone's on the same boat. They're all trying to get that first 3 points in the group stage.
Yeah. Oh, if you consider a team easy, you pretty much just pack your stuff and go home.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Absolutely. But look, so that's UEFA. We'll get into the FIFA ones, which obviously is a mixture of the other confederations.
Yes.
I gotta ask, like, do you feel that's fair? Do you feel like there should be just an UEFA one and then just everyone else on another pathway, or would you have liked to see maybe they're all mixed in together?
I don't know. I think their fear of thing is what currently has happened in the other thing that we're going to discuss. I think that may have been the fear of what happened, of what we discussed, of the countries that qualified, that maybe there would have been less European countries to qualify. And we've all seen the discussions already of who they thought had to be there. Some of those countries would have lost to the DR or Jamaica and all that. I can promise you that some of those teams that in UEFA would have lost against those teams.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of try to balance the ratio of Europeans and CONCACAF and African team to play in the World Cup, because they're complaining about 10 African countries already.
That's maybe fair. I don't know. I think we need more Africa.
They saved them. They saved them, but yeah.
All right, so the semifinals for, I guess you could say, Path 1 and Path 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously the winners of the semifinals played against the two highest ranked teams in nations in this setup. So you have Bolivia beating Suriname 2-1, and then Jamaica beating Caledonia 1-0 in the semifinals, and of course the finals. I was really pulling for Bolivia. I would have loved to have seen Bolivia, move on to the World Cup just because of, it's the little guy. It's the little guy. It's and of course it's Latin America. I got to be pulling for the Latin American countries except for Mexico. So it's always that kind of feeling. But I mean Iraq, man, like they're, and I know that there's going to be a lot of political discussions, especially already right now with Iran. But it's awesome to see Iraq here. I honestly do say that it's awesome to see them here. It's going to be great. I mean, the video, unfortunately, that happened in Dallas. Mm-hmm. Trust me, I want to punch the crap out of that guy. But, that's not here or there. But Iraq is in the World Cup. I think this is awesome. I can't wait to see them compete and what it's going to mean for them as a nation to be in this competition. Yeah,
and like we always say, that's the whole purpose of what the World Cup is supposed to be, is that we're all bunch up together, a whole bunch of countries, and celebrate. And we saw what, Iraq being in Mexico and how they were treated, celebrated. Those are the pictures that we want to see and that we want to display to the rest of the world of what our sport is like. So, and like we say, always see the small teams or the teams that have struggled throughout the years, decades, being able to do that and showing the pure side of things.
Yeah, once again, it just goes back to you want to see yourself on that pitch, and for all the kids that are from Iraq or people that are from different countries but have Iraq, heritage, that's going to be that moment where you can see those players and you're just going to feel some type of way. And hopefully one day I can see El Salvador in the World Cup. Don't see that happening anytime soon, but one day maybe.
You never know.
You never know. Now, this is the team I want to say for last because this is, and Moussa knows how much I love this country, and that is obviously DR Congo. They're going to the World Cup. They beat Jamaica. That's okay. I don't care.
Oh, okay.
They beat Congo. They beat Congo beat Jamaica. They're going to the World Cup. I am so happy because I fell in love with this nation when in AFCON, and now I get to see them again. This was like the best thing to happen in my life. Maybe if I ever have kids, maybe that will be discussed. But there's gonna be
I'm gonna have to connect you with some of my Congolese friends because they're going to love this clip. We're gonna have to clip it.
I love Congo, man. I love the people. I love the guy that was dancing on the chair. I love that one guy that I need to see him. I need to see him.
Oh,
I need him back. I need him
uh,
back.
yes, we were talking about ourselves like whoever was trying to help him to go to Mexico. I hope you are starting the process now because
Start the GoFundMe.
yeah, no country should take care of that already. I mean,
I will start
or
a GoFundMe.
CAF should take care of that. Yeah, I don't think. I'm pretty sure he will be here. I mean, there's no reason to not make it. But I think you still had a few things to say about DR Congo. So go ahead.
No, I mean I love the Congo, man. I loved how they were running. I love their run in the AFCON. Everything about their people, man. Like I could just, it's contagious. Every African nation, to be honest, is contagious. But and I'm sure Edward's gonna try to say something, try to bonk me here, but no, that also helps. But but at the end of the day, I fell in love with the people of the Congo. It's real. One, I also love just saying the Congo. Like I just love saying the. It's a great country to call. So yeah,
Hey.
everything about them. I love the nation. Obviously the team plays really well. And I mean, for you get another African country in here. How do you feel with the Congo, and what do you think teams should anticipate when it comes to them?
So yeah. So first, I was also a little disappointed of that Jamaica not making it because I always like to see them in this World Cup. But I think the thing that kind of pointed out is that outside of you and others that kind of watch AFCON, almost all underestimated what DR Congo is like, probably because they were not familiar.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone that I spoke with, and I said, do you understand that team almost beat Senegal during the qualifiers, but they fell asleep and Senegal came back. During the last AFCON, they almost beat Senegal, and it ended up being a tie, and they almost beat Morocco, then to just lose them. So they were the pain in the rear of the two best African team on the continent. And then you go to Jamaica that's still struggling, and you see that there's still that inner fighting within that country. You have DR Congo that's coming in hot. They've played the AFCON. They're still mad about how they've not qualified. And now you give them a team that's a little bit wounded. And they went and took care of business. That was probably the worst team that they wanted to face when it comes to the African countries. Because they had that chip on their shoulder. They all talk. We're almost beat Senegal. We almost beat Morocco. And they showed the rest of CONCACAF and the world that Senegal has more than 10 teams. Africa has more than 10 teams that could. Because if you think about it, we still have some huge countries that did not qualify.
Mm-hmm. No,
You
absolutely.
could have 13, 14, 15 if they keep playing their cards right, because there's 54 countries in Africa.
Yeah, it's always, when you actually look at the map of Africa, it is a massive country, and I could just imagine just the qualifying process for AFCON. Like I could just only imagine
Mad.
and so to see it like in that kind, and, just for a World Cup, it's just unbelievable that they only get 10. They should, it should be more. I don't know how they need to fix the qualifying process, but there's confederations that I think they need to get better representation. And I mean, like, no offense to UEFA, and I love UEFA and and everything, but you have already so many countries that are coming out of UEFA. Like, what is just chopping a few more just so we can get another group of countries from other regions to be more diverse in this competition?
Yeah, I think they're going to. I think the biggest thing though is performance, and then after that, I think that's where they started to get louder voices when it comes to then FIFA when they meet, right? Because Europe, we know who has won the recent World Cup. The 8 countries that have won, majority of them are Europeans. I think the more African countries or American countries starting to perform better, then they will be able to justify of having more teams playing, right?
Hmm.
Because if there's a lot of European countries, like Montenegro and all that, if you put them in CONCACAF or you put them in CAF, they will not even make it to the playoff.
Hmm.
When it comes to Africa, we have staples that are not coming to the World Cup.
Hmm.
So I think for them is those 10 African countries need to perform in this World Cup. Then that will give them more chairs at FIFA, and that will give them more clout at FIFA because right now they're almost like the step brother that, you know, that's why they try to follow what UEFA's calendar is when they cut the whole CAF business because of that, right? The more you perform, the more you do better, the better the FIFA top brass will listen to you.
Hmm.
We'll put it that way.
No, yeah, I definitely get that part, man. Um, but but yeah, so those are all the teams that we have officially have every nation in the World
Yes.
Cup now. When you look at the teams that have come out of this stage now, going now officially now, they can breathe now. They're in the World Cup. They got their now they're getting their tickets ready to go to Canada, USA, and Mexico. But when you look at the teams that are qualified, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Sweden, Turkey, Czechia, Iraq, and the Congo, who is the one that you think is going to be immediately the fan favorite? Okay, it's probably the Congo. I don't know why I asked you that question. It's going to be the Congo. But uh, who's all eyes are watching in 2026 from this group?
I don't know. That's a hard one to say because I think you just talking to a lot of people in demographic. I I don't know if I can answer that one. And maybe it'd be a toss up between DR Congo and Bosnia because we all know that St. Louis has the biggest Bosnian community in North America, and the only place that has more is Bosnia.
Wow,
So they're coming in droves. They're all ready. I saw the social media part where
and that's where
Bosnian community.
Bosnia's having a friendly, right?
That's why they're trying to because because of that. And every time Checo comes in the U.S., he stops in St. Louis. When
mm,
City did their U.S. tour, he left City compound to come to St. Louis for a day or hours to come say hi to the community, and then went back with City.
what a guy.
So it's humongous here. So I think them, and then I saw the whole social media where Bosnian families already says if people cannot afford to have housing, that they've already have couches and beds and restaurants ready for them. That's unheard of in other sports where your team is coming to play for a tournament. Your entire community says, "Don't worry, forget the hotels, forget restaurants. Come to my house."
Have some home cooking.
Yeah, that that's rare. You don't hear that often, right?
No,
And it's
that's
maybe not the
awesome.
American thing, right? To say you cannot afford it, come to my house. If you have your tickets, you come, you're settled. DR Congo, they have the whole Africans. What we do is right before we play against each other or we possibly play. It's everybody for Africa, right? If your team is out, they're going to support the next one. Your team is out, support the next one. If you're not playing against each other, they will all come. So I'm excited about all of these countries showing the US what it's like to have craziest fans that you can think of. They've seen what Brazilians have already with the Club World Cup. But now they're going to go and see what crazy Eastern Europeans or Asians countries when it comes to a World Cup. If they thought Club World Cup was crazy, they've not seen nothing yet.
That's very true, man. And I will mention, like, when you talk about obviously one of the big complaints that they're having with the World Cup being here in North America is the weather, right? The weather, how it's going to be in the summer. In what part of Africa is the Congo in? Is it more like central or?
Yes, yes. So they're pretty central. So they pretty much get a taste of the West and East weather. So I don't think, and a lot of them are playing in Europe on top of that. So it's not like a lot of them, the weather might be the extreme heat that comes with the US. But other than that, I mean, they've lived in worse conditions than.
Okay, so because the only reason why I was saying that was because obviously, like in the Club World Cup, we saw the South American teams kind of flourish in these weather conditions because I mean that's basically the weather that they deal with.
Right.
So I was wondering if maybe that could have been an advantage for the Congo or for the other African nations to where, this is not that bad. So like,
they're used to those climates, I think, and especially a lot of their European based. So I think, especially for some of those countries, right? We're talking about players that are not your multi-millionaires, right? A lot of them come from nothing. So when you tell them you get a water break, after 25 minutes, they'll probably laugh at this point. Some of them were fasting when they were still playing. I mean, so I'm curious to see what those water breaks, maybe it's for another part of the world to help with.
Yeah.
I think that's and the commercials.
Commercials and I mean, of course, if you're a manager, this gives you a quick opportunity to like throw in some adjustments after just what they saw in the first 25 minutes of the game. So
they barely drink water. You see that? Right?
Look, as someone that has worked in the academy system, and like a lot of the kids, like they'll just take a sip and then spit it. Sometimes they don't even drink it. Like to be fair, so like Generation Adidas Cup, which I believe is almost gonna be completed right now at this point, but
nice.
like some of the guys on the team, they will like maybe take like a little bit of like a sip of a body armor because we got plenty of body armor at GA. I can tell you that much. To the point where now I don't even want to look at the body armor. I'm over here. I'm gonna try every flavor. Dumbest decision I ever made. So because now I'm like I don't even want to taste the body armor. But no, with them though, honestly, a lot of the guys would ask me like to pour out like half the bottle and then pour water in it. So that way it was like. Because the thing is, the issue that I have with body armor, and I'm not scared of losing a sponsorship here, but like, you drink it and you just want to drink. You need to drink something else. Like it's like I have to drink a water,
right?
Because there's just something about it. Like after drinking a body armor, that you're just like, I feel more dehydrated than I did when just drinking pure water. So
it's just water. Yeah,
it's an interesting thing. But
and you see a lot of those guys too, right? Put a little bit of water and then they spit it because they just want their mouth to be hydrated, not to drink it because you feel that water when you're running.
Yeah, I mean the other argument is that the electrolytes help to prevent cramps. Yeah. My rule of thumb is just maybe just eat a banana before you play because literally, from my experience when I played, I eat a banana and I have never had cramps.
Wait. Banana oranges, that is your staple to like tournaments. That's we have to have those all the time.
There was an academy. He's not with the Dynamo Academy anymore. He's with he was with Atlanta United's academy. I think he just committed to. I forgot what school he committed to, but his name is Elon Ediger.
Okay. Yeah.
And I remember he would just flip out if he forgot to eat a banana before a game because he was like. It's because he played a game and he didn't eat he never experienced anything like that before. He just started getting like massive cramps,
right.
And so someone mentioned like, hey, if you eat a banana, you won't get cramps. Like eat a banana before the game, you won't get cramps. And so ever since then, like he literally like loses his mind if we don't have a banana on the ready because if he forgot to get one, like if like at the hotel they just didn't have bananas,
right.
like like in the little breakfast buffet, like So usually that's when we're responsible, like trying to make sure that there's bananas on the ready for him. He wasn't the only player. Like there was,
Yeah, it's just fictitious, right? When you start a process, you do not want to mess up that flow.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, but what's funny was with him because he never ate the whole banana. So me and him he would like just give me like he'll just take the part off that he wants to eat, and then he gives me the rest. So I was also cramp free during Generation Adidas Cup.
There you thought about you too.
So also maybe also not a good look for me when the only athlete gives it to me, gives me a banana instead of like maybe another athlete. But
maybe there was no one near you. That was your thing. That was you and him thing. That's what it is.
Yeah, actually, as a matter of fact, because Elon, so when we finished, not GA Cup, it was MLS, the MLS playoffs, right? Like the little MLS Next playoffs. Because that was when he told us that he was going to move to Atlanta. Dang. So we had his last game as a U15 player, so he got like very emotional. And I remember distinctly like he came up, like I was just gonna dab him up, and just like, all right, great game, and then no, he just like full embrace, like, which I mean, he literally just played a game, so.
So yeah, it shows you that banana sharing was more than just sharing a fruit.
He's a great kid. I don't even know. Yeah, he's still a kid, right? Still a
kid. He's kid to you.
Yeah, so he's a great kid. I'm pulling for it. Man, it's crazy now. Like a lot of the guys from the academy now are going to college or got professional contracts now. Like like David Garcia, Matthew Arana, and Noah Bentecourt and like Enrique Correa. Like all those guys they're pros now, right. or if not, these guys are getting like scholarship deals, scholarship opportunities to get an education. And it's just like, it's crazy, man. Like my little knuckleheads are becoming adults, and it's just, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for this.
I'm too young for this.
Yeah, man, it's crazy, man. It's awesome seeing them kind of grow. And it's funny how they just follow me around. So it's like, it's interesting.
Hey, you've had a great experience and great, so that's why they see you now. That's what all soccer is all about, right?
Mm-hmm. No, it definitely is, man. It's really special. But all right, Moussa, man, it's always a pleasure to have you on, man, and it's great to talk about World Cup and even like hearing how you feel about the U.S. men's national team. That was kind of, it's always great to hear a different person's perspective versus me just kind of like, guys, just relax. So like it's okay. Pepe's gonna make the roster, guys. He's not gonna not make the roster. He's doing too good at PSV right now to not call him up.
True.
But obviously it's always a pleasure, Moussa. This is your time, man. Tell us what's going on over there at Mo Football.
I don't know. What is it? There's a brand new series that's coming that I'm putting together where this time it's kind of promoting more of the African players that are having an impact in U.S. soccer in general. So we're talking, MLS all the way to grassroots soccer. So MLS, USL, all of that. So starting in May, and we're recording now as we speak. And I will be doing a lot more of the covering in the World Cup. Some of the events that are happening around, full-blown football craziness. I'm starting in 2 weeks where we're not only talking league soccer now. Mm-hmm. It's time to kind of showcase what everybody is doing other than just the guys that have made it, per se. So Mo Football TV everywhere, or Mo Football FC. And I'm still in the trying to make it to 3,000 followers on YouTube. So it's keep going up and up and up. So make sure you subscribe, and do all the fun stuff.
Yeah, make sure to let's get him to 3,000 people. Let's make it happen, man. Moussa, it's always a pleasure, man. We're gonna have a busy summer, man. Like we're gonna, put the Champions League theme music over, and then we're gonna start listening to some Ford F-150 theme music. So it's gonna be great. Who doesn't love some Jelly Roll?
All I know is if you want to listen to something fun, there's the French version of it is fire.
Or I could just listen to Waka Waka.
No, Waving Flag is better.
Oh no, I agree. Waving Flag is better. But
Yes,
when
but
it's
we're gonna have to get you to DR Congo. We gotta make something special for you though.
I'm ready to be the dude that was dancing with the Moroccans. That's all I'm telling you.
I
Or no, what
hey,
was it? The Moroccan dancing with the
Senegalese.
Senegalese.
Yeah, which is kind of funny now if you think about it. But
Yeah,
yes,
yeah. All I
he's
know is
dancing.
from this international break, all I have to say is I am glad I didn't have to be the team that had to go up against Senegal that they walked out with the AFCON trophy. That's all I had to say.
Well, Peru, right? But yeah, now they're trying to like sue even France for allowing them to do it.
Oh.
Yeah, well, like, but just to close that out is that yes, Senegalese people are very nice. There's that Teranga, which is being welcoming to everybody, but there's the one side that is not to mess with, and I think that's what just happened, and CAF opened the door for it,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just unfortunate for Morocco that the team that had at the final was also the most successful team. If they would have played any other countries, they would have won CAF. But they faced a team that's, yeah, Senegalese people are, we might smile a lot, but if you press the wrong button, you just saw what happens. And now that cup is with a army guy that has it on his backpack facing forward.
Don't want to mess with that guy.
No, no. But yeah, hey, that's, you guys wanted entertainment? Senegal is coming as the champ because CAS will not have a decision for 8 to 9 months. Um, so yeah,
Hey man, I mean, I'm always a fan of pettiness, so I'm on your guys' side on that one. I
oh,
think,
they went full on petty.
hey, sometimes you just got to do it, and I have no issue with you guys doing that. I think if that was the case, they should have stopped the match from when it happened, and
But
you let the game go on. So that's on them.
yes, and if you think about it, though, it was smartest for Senegal to do it like that. That if all of these bad calls and everything that would have gone, if they would have waited after the fact and they would have pulled a Morocco, then Senegal would have looked worse.
Hmm.
So that's where follow the rules, and so, but hopefully they come to an end very soon because it's getting very too ugly for my taste.
No, I definitely agree. It is it's crazy that it got to this point, but yeah,
Yeah,
hopefully it gets resolved. I think you guys deserve to be the champions, and even if it is officially going to go to Morocco, it's still going to be viewed as Senegal's cup that they won. That's
the whole world's seen it with Senegal, so
yeah. So you can't have everybody be happy, unfortunately, but yeah, it's an unfortunate thing. But guys, make sure you guys go give Moussa some love, man. He's doing some great things, man. You'll eventually see me there back again, and obviously, Moussa, you always have an open invitation here on the podcast, as you always know. And I always love to hear your perspective on everything, man. So,
appreciate it.
yeah, for sure. With all that being said, man, we're gonna go right into players of the week.
I love soccer, Peggy.
All right, guys. Players of the Week is brought to you by SeatGeek. SeatGeek is an amazing ticketing site app that you can use for all live events, from sporting events to concerts, man. SeatGeek has you covered. It has a really easy grading system when it comes to these tickets. If it is super low in a 10-point scale, if the score is super low and the color is very red, that means keep scrolling through the app. You're going to find a better deal. Keep looking. If it's very green and very high up there in the 10s, well, that means for that seat, for that event, you're getting a great deal. Go ahead and purchase and enjoy your event. We love the simplicity of SeatGeek here at Insert MFC. Me and Edward use it all the time for all the live events that we attend. And if you guys aren't sold just yet, for first-time users, if you guys use the code BELLYUPSPORTS at checkout, once again, use that code BELLYUPSPORTS at checkout, you will save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek, life's an event. We have the tickets. All right, my player of the week is Marcus Thuram, who scored a goal and 2 assists in Inter Milan's 5-2 victory against Roma. 2 of those goals coming from Lautaro Martinez as well, just to point out. But Marcos Thuram obviously got a goal and provide the 2 assists provide 2 assists in that game. So he essentially got a hat trick in my opinion. So shout out to Marcos Thuram from Inter Milan. Edwards Player of the Week is Erling Haaland, who scored a hat trick, an actual hat trick. One was a penalty, but still got a hat trick in Manchester City's 4-0 victory against Liverpool in the FA Cup. So they eliminate Liverpool in the FA Cup. Also, fun fact, Arsenal got eliminated by Southampton. So, yeah. So the pressure just keeps getting worse and worse for Mikel Arteta and the boys over there in London. But yeah, so congratulations to Marcus Thuram and Erling Haaland for being our players of the week. Make sure you guys, once again, go to SeatGeek, use that code BellyUpSports for first-time users. You'll save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek Lifestyle event. We have the tickets. All right, guys, games to watch this weekend. We have Vancouver Whitecaps taking on NYCFC in the MLS. 2 teams that are doing really well in Major League Soccer. We'll see how that continues on. Obviously, it's still early on in the season. We got the Seattle Sounders taking on Real Salt Lake. Real Salt Lake, Diego Luna's back. We'll see what that means for this Real Salt Lake team. Also, we have a Clásico, a derby in Mexico City, man. We got Club America taking on Cruz Azul. It's a rivalry, inter-city rivalry. We'll see how that all transpires over there in Liga MX. In Liga 1, we got Toulouse taking on Lille. Toulouse taking a big loss over against PSG. Can they respond against Lille, a team that normally does pretty well in Liga 1? And we got Olympique Lyon taking on Lorient. Can Tanner Tessman, continue his bounce back after, the friendlies? In the Bundesliga, we got Borussia Dortmund taking on Bayer Leverkusen. Self-explanatory on that one. And Mainz taking on SC Freiburg, 2 teams that are in the same, kind of on the same level when it comes to the Bundesliga, trying to push up and have a strong finish to the season. In the Serie A, we got Atalanta taking on Juventus and Como taking on Inter Milan. So 2 really good matches there. Obviously, Lautaro Martinez and Thuram both of them coming off a great game. So we'll see how they do. In La Liga, we got Espanyol going up against Barcelona. So that is a big matchup. Barcelona also, by the way, did beat Atletico Madrid. So Edward's lead over there in the Jersey bet just continues to get stronger. So we'll see what happens, man. And Athletic Club Bilbao taking on Villarreal. So a really good matchup over there as well. In the English Premier League, we got Liverpool taking on Fulham. Can Liverpool respond after losing to Manchester City? And Fulham is unfortunately the team that has to try to compete with Liverpool in this setup. So we'll see what happens there. We also got Chelsea going against Manchester City, who obviously just eliminated Liverpool. So full circle moment. Did not do that on purpose, but that is what happens. And of course, it's an episode where Kelcey's on here that this happens to be discussed. But obviously, that's not all the matches that are being played this weekend. But if you guys need a little beginner's guide, if you will, for some matches to watch, well, I think it gave you some good matches to look forward to. With all that being said, we're going to take one last break and then wrap this show up with Give and Go.
Hey everyone, it's Ryan from No Credentials Required to talk to you about one of our newest partners at Belly Up Sports, SeatGeek. Yeah, live sports is great on television, but the feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. That's why our friends at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, but you can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. Search for your desired event now at SeatGeek.com, enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets.
All right, guys, I'm shuffling the cards to see if I can get me some good discussions from, obviously, Give and Go. For those of you who are not familiar with Give and Go, check out their website, giveandgogames.com, and you can purchase this card game that I have, which is the Soccer Card Game Kickoff Edition. Now, there is also another version that is a drinking version of it, so have fun with that, but also make sure you guys are drinking responsibly if you are partaking as well. Also, you could probably get that one and you don't have to necessarily drink as well. But Give and Go, man. So every card tells a story. What's yours? Give and Go is the ultimate soccer card game packed with trivia, challenges, and conversation starters that bring fans together. With 3 game-changing categories, it's designed to get everyone talking, laughing, and reliving their favorite footy moments. on the couch, at the pub, or whatever the game takes you. Wherever you go, give and go. All right, guys. I have shuffled the cards. Once again, like I always do, I always take the first 3 out to see if any of these are going to be used for this discussion. Can't use this one because it says you miss a sitter, get flicked in the ear. That is an action card, so would be kind of fun to do if I was with people. I can't do this one because it says play a FIFA song. First to guess the name plays the next turn. So can't do that one either because, well, it's just me and copyright is another thing. Describe a moment in soccer history that changed the game. Describe a moment in soccer history that changed the game. Honestly, man, was coming first thing that comes on my mind. I don't know about changing the game, but it did end up setting up a I guess you can say some sort of regime afterwards, and that is when Brazil defeated Germany 2-0 in the 2002 World Cup. And because of that loss, the German Football Federation immediately started looking within and trying to figure out what needs to be done to get Germany to win a World Cup, and that essentially caused a very strict structuring of the Bundesliga, where they mandated that only you had to have at all times, you had to have a certain number of German players on your team, and with that, obviously pushed in for German clubs to have more of an emphasis on developing German players, and of course, which the end product did lead to them winning the 2014 FIFA World Cup. So obviously, mission accomplished. But I don't know if it really changed the game too much, but it did light a spark on Germany, and obviously now German football is viewed as what it's viewed today. So I'm gonna say that's what I'm gonna go with. Germany has still been one of the more scarier teams to face off against in any competition. Obviously the quality of play has improved, but I think when you look at that process, at that method, kind of now where we're talking about, with discussion with the U.S. men's national team and youth development and all those things, it's honestly one of those to the point where I think now U.S. soccer kind of needs to take that lesson from Germany and apply it to here, to put an emphasis on developing young American players, and maybe the goal, the World Cup, the goal of winning a World Cup, which once again I believe every nation should have that objective. But I think when you have, and I think kind of what me and Kelcey were talking about earlier, right? The reason why women's soccer has worked out so well is just they have a larger talent pool to pull from, and the methods that the women's national team has been able to use has worked for so long. Now I do feel like the rest of the world is catching up to the women's national team, especially with the quality of play that we're seeing now from these national teams over in Europe, and it's only going to get better. So I think that we might be in a discussion at one point where the U.S. women's national team isn't necessarily the best national team in women's football. That could be a really interesting conversation. Now, I do believe they're still going to be a strong team, and it's once again just because the talent pool that they have is very strong. But I mean, you see it with Spain, you see it with England, what they've done with their women's national teams. They put more of an emphasis on developing players, and obviously technical play is emphasized more in Europe than it is here in the United States. So if their quality gets better, who's to say that what worked for the U.S. women's national team, which is pretty similar kind of to what the men have been doing, who's to say we're not going to see more other champions of other countries in the women's game as well. So that's my thoughts. But anyways, so that is episode 252. I want to give a big thank you to Belly Up Sports. Once again, full video version of this episode is on Belly Up Sports YouTube channel. Also check out their website, bellyupsports.com. Lots of articles that are being written right now. Obviously, Kelcey just said it. NFL draft is very much near its point, so they're definitely covering a lot of the NFL as far as who's going to be the next big stars of the National Football League. Obviously, baseball is still early on, but people are covering it. Hockey is very much happening. NBA as well, kind of near the tail end. March Madness is basically almost over. So there's still a lot to discuss here in the United States, but obviously World Cup coverage is also growing here in the United States, so be on the lookout for more of that as well. So check out bellysports.com. Also check out their Instagram, Instagram and X, Jesus Christ, at Belly Up Sports. They are constantly dropping reels. They're dropping content over there, so make sure you guys be on the lookout for that. With that being said, man, now that the group stages are set, be on the lookout for me and Kelcey to be dropping some videos as well on all the national teams that are competing in the 2026 World Cup. So be on the lookout for that. That's going to be there on Belly Up social medias. Also their TikTok as well at Belly Up Sports. Also, Goals TV, man. You'll see me there from time to time. Also should probably mention that if you're watching Goals TV and you're watching Wake Up MLS, well, I officially have a championship DVD team, and that is the San Jose Earthquakes. They did, in fact, fulfill the bet that I made with many other guys over there on Wake Up MLS, which was if they can get 5 points in the last 3 matches they had, which they were going against Seattle, Vancouver, and San Diego FC. They beat Vancouver and they beat San Diego, so they definitely got the point total that they needed to now be my championship DVD team. So here we are. That's who I'm riding with. We'll see how that all goes down. But if you guys want to see more of that, man, check out their YouTube channel, Goals TV. Also follow them on X at goals_TV, GOZ_TV, and on Instagram at goals.tv, GOZ.TV, so you can see what's going on over there at Goals. Obviously, man, all the beats that is done on this podcast, the intros, the outros, the ads, are all done by Roosevelt Spencer. He is the namesake of the Roosevelt Spencer's Player of the Year Award. That's how important he is to us. So we figured we should name an award after him as well. We love him truly. He comes up in the clutch for us many times. And yeah, so if you guys need some beat work done, hit up Spencer, man, at That Guy Dope. Once again, at That Guy Dope on Instagram. And he will take great care of you like he always does with us. And I guess I'll say it right now. This Spencer had nothing to do with this one. And I'm sure Spencer will be very much infuriated with me as I say this, but as someone that as he is someone that creates music. So obviously in this episode you heard me and Moussa talk about my love for the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And well, I think it's time to have a song that's fitting towards it. So the outro for this episode is actually not going to be the normal outros that we have, which are beats normally done by Spencer, or the Belly Up Sports little outro that they have us do for YouTube. So it's going to be a song with the help of AI. And the song is called Tres Ritmos, Un Corazón. It is made strictly from AI. And it is going to essentially be about my infatuation for the Congo. So, yeah. So, I guess we'll just go right into that one. So, with all that being said, man, thank you so much for listening to episode 252. Catch us next week for 253, where, well, we'll be talking about more footy. So, get ready for that. So, thank you so much. Take care, guys. And enjoy the song.
H-Town, slow down. Tres banderas, one corazón. Congo, es el Salvador. Hector stepping in, ritmo de la calle, desde Houston City hasta Tierra del Valle. USA, yes, that's home, no doubt. Pero Congo got him turning his route. Cumbia in his feet, got him swaying side to side. Pero those drums hit different, no place to hide. Fans going wild, energy explosive. Every chant loud, every moment focus. Feel that bass, corazón latiendo from the crowd. Fuego subiendo, no lo busco. one corazón. Gong, 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 gong. Gong, 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 gong. Guitars crying. My lemon style, crowd moving free, everybody wild. And yeah, he picked the Congo queen, elegant, shining, straight out a dream, but it's deeper than look. It's how they stand, team full of pride, playing for the land. Every run got purpose, every goal got weight, like they carrying history on every play. Congo, 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 go, 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 go. Got 'em robbing slow. Pasión, pasión, don't let go. Tres banderas flow. Pasión, pasión, don't let go. Tres banderas flow. Kinshasa, to San Salvador. Houston got that screw and pull. Baila lento, luego acelera. Cumbia y Congo, candela entera. From the streets to the mundial stage. Check the vibe and unlock the cage. Fans got that fire, can't ignore. Women shining bright on the floor. Team playing hard, right at the core. That's what he fell for. But his roots still strong for sure. USAYES forevermore. Three coaches, one roar. That's Hector's World Cup lore. H-Town, slow down. Congo, El Salvador. USA. One corazón.